Domo, welcome everybody. Today we're playing The Case of the Serialized Killer. Yippee! Murder mysteries. Yeah, Domo, Michi, welcome. I hydrated. Yeah, Porkle, get your cereal box ready. It's gonna be ripped apart by some serial killer. You gotta hug it close, lock it up tight. Domo Arditto, Domo Ikajo, and Domo Road Dog, just in time. So, this game is free on Steam. I'm gonna have a link to it in the YouTube VOD multi-stream description thing. But basically, I was sent an email being like, can you play my game? It's free. It's watercolored. I hand-painted it myself, and I was like, bet. It's like, I like free, and I like hand-painted watercolors. And I like murder mysteries, so, I win. Yeah, Double Bucky, welcome. How you doing? Oh, and of course Taffy wants to sit on my lap, right? Right when I get started, right? Even though I gave you lots of hugs and kisses before the stream. Dude on the right trying to raise the dude on the left. I think he's more concerned about the spider that's behind him. Like, dude. There's the giant spider right behind you. It's gonna bite you. Yeah, they said it was hand-painted, so I imagine what they did is they painted it, and then they scanned it, and then uploaded it. That's my guess. Well, anyway, let's go. The doors were all locked, and the windows barred. The afternoon sun barely managed to leak into the dusty mansion. Oh, it looks like even the UI was like, ooh, that's neat. I like this. But when the visitor knocked, the sharp sound resounded through the halls. Somewhere inaudible over the knocking, a pitiful voice let out a groan and called out into the hallway. Clumsy hands pulled a pillow over his face. Ugh, that's so loud. I swear I can see it. If it doesn't stop, this headache will crack my skull in two. When one man complained, another was already rushing to answer the door. You have a hangover, not a headache. Have mercy, Holly. I can't handle this today. You couldn't handle this yesterday. Oh yeah, Taffy's staying on my lap if you want synchronized cat pettings. And I don't think you'll have a lobster's chance in boiling water of handling it tomorrow. Unsympathetic, but undeterred, Hawley Faraday. Boy, that's a name. I kind of like it though. Made his way toward the front door. Sounds like a VTuber name. He ignored the other speaker and their continued whining. He sighed. The moaning wouldn't stop until the knocking did, and Faraday would have to be the one to take care of it. Opening up the door was quite a task. He muttered through a devious set of tongue-twisting charms, cracked a stick of chalk over the handle, and detached a frankly ludicrous amount of deadbolts. Any interest in the novelty of ritual magic had worn off months ago. The seal broke and crisp air entered, full of the staticky flavor of fall. Ah, yes, the static. It's like, the static makes Taffy, turns Taffy into an electric-type Pokemon at night. Let's just put it that way. Holly blinked as his eyes adjust. He hadn't missed all the sunlight, nor the serious, stiffly disapproving faces of people on the outside. A messenger was standing in the step, letter in hand. Whomever had sent it had paid to have it hand-delivered. Urgent letter from Mr. Lulud? Lulud? I don't know how to read that. Ludud? Ludud? Kale. Holly raised an eyebrow. They'd paid to have it hand-delivered. Yeah, la-boo-boo. Lud-boo-boo. Mr. Lulud, yeah. Double Cody, welcome, how you doing? But not, it seemed, enough to know the recipient. Ludekiel. 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 I am not going to remember that. Comprehension seemed to dawn on the messenger's face, quickly followed by inevitable grimace of distaste. Yeah, Ludekiel, there you go. I see, Faraday took a letter from his hand. Gave it the once over. It's not a bomb, is it? That got the jerk's attention. No, sir, it's a personal invitation. Really? Well, toss my oars. Thanks. Holly rummaged through his pocket for a tip, and once the transaction was accomplished, set about resealing the door. He didn't want to be responsible for anything escaping. So the business was accomplished, all that was left was to find out what was in the letter. Harry! Quieter, please. Holds up Taffy, this is your Labubu. Yeah, Taffy is $500 matcha Labubu. Yeah, finger paint mystery. Yeah, Dome Aviator, welcome, how you doing? Yeah, Labubu Dubai Chocolate Cat, exactly. You should get up, open your mail yourself. Faraday could hear angry muttering as Harold got out of bed. He sounded irate, but at least he was up. I won't do it. I've done 2 before and it's all so terribly demeaning. 2 stocky-clad feet met the ground. Then one of those feet failed to keep balance, and the ground became acquainted with a pair of elbows and a forehead. Bonk. You have doomed Chad to matcha Labubu Dubai chocolate. Yes, you have, poor girl. Look what you've done. La pudding. Seances are just a tasteless parlor trick. He clawed his way up the doorframe, and Harold Labubu stood as tall as he momentarily could. How dare they? They're speaking to a true alchemical genius. Says the guy with the fucking, it's like he's got his shirt tucked in his pants. A man who can control the fabric of the human soul. Holly fluttered the letter at him. Why don't you try controlling the fabric of your pants, buddy? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, wait a minute. Harold took one moment to register his state of undress. Oh my god. Alright, bye, Taffy. I'm sure it's in high-waist pants and belts need to come back. Yeah, right? It's like it's like men's fashion used to have it back in the day. Hundreds of years ago. I would know. Be it as it may, neither I nor anyone could show up and summon the souls of the dead. The regrets or outstanding grievances? Perhaps I should summon those. But any eventual presence strong enough to contact might kill the whole lot of them, rather than shake the table. Holly sighed again. Maybe it would have been better to leave Harold passed out on the chase lounge. After all, Harold couldn't be pedantic while passed out on the chase lounge. I'll tell this bell person you said no then. Harold waved a permissive gesture. It was trendy in the 90s. Yeah, exactly. That was like, what, 100 years ago? Good, good. Don't call me unless big ones escape. It took a while for anything to filter through the muck in his brain, and as a neuron finally made contact, Harold tripped again. Bell, as in Bernadette Bell, the author? Holly caught both Harold and the sudden wild look in his eye. The famous author. Yeah. Managing both Harold and the letter was certainly a handful. But Holly managed to reread the letter, which was to say the letter. It says, Professor Ludi Kiel. Ludi Kiel. I tried. I request your presence at a party in my home this coming Saturday. I have heard tell of your incredible research into the pernal sciences, and I need a man with your experience for the job. I can trust no one with this important task. My regards, Bernadette Bell. Harold got up to his feet, brushing himself off. Well, it would be the pinnacle of rudeness to decline. So, will you bring business cards to this? Or will you just pass out slips labeled Kiss Ass so they know your real job? Harold shook his head, hangover suddenly absent. How do you not know Belle? She's been serialized for 2 years now. Writes those murder mysteries with the shockingly grisly means of death. Polly shrugged. An associate of hers was just murdered a few days ago. The irony kept it all over the papers. They have no leads at all, claiming him might have been the murder weapon. Professor Ludi Kill has been investigating the Colonel Sanders. It's like, Ludi Kill is probably the closest way to say it, isn't it? I just realized that. God, I'm slow. It's creepy to obsess about other people's business. You never know when you might need that information. We wouldn't want to make a faux pas if we meet her. Fine, I guess that settles it. Even if you said seances were fake. I mean, it's more complicated than that. And even if there's very little evidence that they're real, you never know, we might find out in the future. That's a longer way to say fake. So, they want a good ghost story for their party. What's wrong with that? Yeah, Ludi Kill sounds good. Settled it. That's what we're calling him. It's not deceptive per se. It's fun for the guests if we all pretend it's real. That's the idea. Holly chuckled. Well, then I'm counting. I'm coming with you. Seeing you lie your ass off sounds like a show I don't want to miss. Plus, they said there'll be dinner. I haven't gotten to eat something I didn't cook myself in ages. Harold shoots the inside of his cheek for a moment before responding. Just promise you won't embarrass me. Me? With you running around pretending about fake ghosts for a scrap of establishment acknowledgement? You really think I'm going to be the embarrassing one? Well, you don't exactly know how to dress. Holly didn't see fit to dignify that with a response. He turned around and left Harold standing in the hall in his undergarments. He's such a Redditor. It's like, am I the asshole? r/. A week later, Faraday and Harold stood dwarfed by the massive mansion of Bernadette Bell. Thank goodness I bought the big jar of salt. This place is going to need a lot to seal. If you're going to be faking the ghost thing, why bother sealing anything? I'm a professional, Holly. I am at least capable of sealing a building until sunrise. Are you sure you can stay up that late? Stepping onto the front porch, their feet passed over a metal grate. The strange device on the floor set off a ringing tone inside the house. Do you think that's an imp doorbell? That seems excessive. Not to mention expensive. Or maybe the place is rigged up with electricity? She must be even richer than I thought. How do I look? Fine. I really wish you'd have dressed in something nicer. This is the nicest stuff I have. He's just like me, for real, for real. These shades were acceptable in the 80s. Yeah, he's got them cool shades. Plus, it's not like clothes change who you are. Either they'll like you or they won't. Unsurprisingly, this did nothing at all to a sausage. Faraday's companion? Associate? Huh. Now there was a question. What was Harry Ludikill to him? What even were they anymore? It's the Sherlock Watson situation. You're either roommates, brothers, fuck buddies. A sausage is doing nothing to spell this game is giving yaoi vibes. And you say that, and then they're like, what's our relationship again? Keeping track of Ludikill's social lives was one thing. But by this point, even finding a true label was beyond Faraday's capabilities. Especially because he really, really didn't want to think about any of that right now. Just say I'm your assistant. They won't care then. Oh, that only makes it worse. Faraday tried again. So you read a few of her books this week, right? Well, I read a bit. Define a bit. I fell asleep on the 3rd page. I usually like seafaring stories, but it was so dreary. Don't look at me like that. There's going to be a play soon. I'll simply watch it when it comes out. Like, I'll just watch the movie. But the short stories are good. I'm certain that they are. You can tell me all about how the book was better once we've seen the show. Look, the first one sucks. She's clearly never been on a boat before. But they get a lot better. Do they now? I wanted to come prepared, so I read a few. There was sound of movement behind the door. The host herself, Bernadette Bell, opened the door. Oh. A robust woman in fashionable dress. There was a touch of tiredness in her gaze and a rasp in her throat. A stern elderly figure stood behind her. Oh! Dr. Ludikill. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I haven't been feeling up to snuff lately. It's no trouble, Miss Bell. And please, call me Harold. Yeah, she purty. I'll wait for the anime. Oh shit, it's One Punch Man Season 3. Yeah, rip.
Harold it is then. I'm glad you can make it.
It might have been rather short notice, but for you, anything. I must confess to being something of a fan. Ah, really? And this is my assistant, Holly Faraday.
Don't worry, I understand how valuable good help is. This is my editor, Debbie Vance.
Vance extended her wrist towards Harold. Her dress and demeanor were both firmly rooted in the prior century. I was the one who told her about your work. Harold, no stranger to dusty old customs, kissed the back of Vance's hand. A pleasure to meet you both. Yeah, the older lady's not bad either, yeah, right?
Come on in. Don't stand out there. I want to get started as soon as everyone else has arrived.
Miss Bell, I need some time, to prepare. I'd love if you kept this whole thing very mysterious. It's just a mystery writer like yourself, but I do need to know whom I'll be summoning.
My friend Gareth Canterbury.
Such a recent death might be difficult to summon.
If you can't do it, then please tell me now.
I meant for an amateur it would be impossible, but for an experienced summoner like me, it shouldn't be a problem. Faraday leaned in the whisper. Harry, how the hell are you going to fake? Harold hissed him softly. Have you ever heard of hot reading? Gareth Canterbury. Oh, I detest him already.
Don't worry, he's dead.
Harold huffed his chest out. He seemed filled head to toe with confidence, instead of trepidation and gin. We need to get a list of deceased's personal traits and attachments so we can contact her properly. Faraday, take some notes for me. Harold thrust a leather-bound journal into Faraday's hands. Wait, this notebook is... Then he folded a new page and started to write. Sometimes Faraday will take notes on the people around him. These notes can be accessed anytime by clicking the journal icon. Ooh. If found, please return to Harold. Ooh, okay. Don't have a whole lot of pages yet, but good to have. Yeah, his notes will be kept in here. Click the corners, close. Yep, got it. Oh, so Faraday's the one you play as? I guess so. Well, he's the one taking notes at least. I figure, like I said, they're gonna be like a Sherlock Watson kind of pair. Or he's probably gonna do the investigating part, and he's like the one that's like tracking everything. Belle turned to Vance for a moment, and while she was distracted, Faraday hissed a whisper to Harold.
Harry, why are there notes on me?
Is there? Yeah, there's Gareth, friend of Belle, recently murdered. Ah, here we go. Holly Faraday, undiscovered demonologist, incredible work, my assistant professor. Don't say his name around the docks. Gay? Question mark? Exclamation point. Underlined. Oh my god. He likes mulled cider. Ask him out for a drink. Apologize. Ask him to come back up. Shut up, coward. Okay. I see where this is going. Oh, well, I started assembling all my notes on people in one notebook. Easy to keep on hand. Oh, they rolled his eyes and sarcasm dripped into his tone. Oh, of course, that makes perfect sense. No, it doesn't. Most people don't think of an insane little dozier of everyone they pass by. Well, my memory isn't what it used to be. What if I slip up and say something that accidentally touches upon a sore nerve and they never forgive me? Faraday took to furious scribbling. Uh-oh. What's he doing? Ooh. Like, his sketch, it's like... You see how like it looks just like him, and then you see this one and it's more crude? That's funny. Orientation desperate. Oh my god. Jerk, usually intoxicated and moping. One of the most influential demonologists in the era, but has no motivation. His house is full of nightmares that are a pain in the ass to deal with, but he's the most notable one. Oh my god. These two. Bickering married couple already. Harold looked over Holly's shoulder and watched him write. Oh, very mature. While you're at it, add snores in his sleep to your page. Belle's laughter cut through their quabble.
Don't you agree, Harold?
Absolutely, quite amusing. Harold had no idea what she'd been discussing with Vance, but people always liked to hear that they were funny. Miss Belle, I hate to divert you back toward a sensitive subject. They have good chemistry, I know. But could you tell me a little about your friend's career? It's important that I know what might tie her to this mortal plane. Belle didn't miss a beat, pride in her eyes as she responded.
She was a fabulous illustrator. She worked on cover art for The Chain.
Faraday leaned towards Harold to whisper. The Chain is the magazine her stories are serialized in. So would you say she liked her job?
Loved it. She and I would head out to find scenes for her to paint while I did some rough drafting. She and I met when she had to illustrate something from one of my stories for the cover. She took a lot of pride in her work. Some people even collected the journals just for their covers. Quite a feat to say. Sometimes the journals sold just because of her artwork.
She wasn't well liked by the heads of the journal.
She just told it like it is. Management always hates that.
I just wanted to be clear. Maybe the job didn't love her as much as she loved it.
I suppose.
Okay, that's an update.
Yeah, popular, worked for chain, disliked boss, tells like it is. Okay. In the parlor, there were 2 guests already chatting away. Just make a save. Or rather, one of them was endlessly, excitedly prattling on, while the other loomed silent. Why does he have a hole in his chest? Hello? It's like, we already played No, I'm Not Human. We already kicked out the coke guy. Why is there another one? Faraday and Harold attempted not to stare. They failed utterly. Belle followed their gazes and chimed in. May I present Goose Downey? They're here to help me with some details about future writing ideas. You're a hitman! Inspiration is vital for a good story. You know more about murder than that. So tacky. Dumbledore Senior's done welcome. How you do? Why does he have a hole in his body? I don't know. We literally just met these people. But welcome. How you doing? Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Faraday took note of the new guests. Yeah, it's like, what? Yeah, it's like tonight's host writes the popular constant Little Bear series of mysteries. Harry, if you're reading this, the train one's great. Yeah, his name's Goose. Their name's Goose Downey. Hitman. Okay. It's like, I can speak fast, but my reading, I don't know. If the maid is hot, but the short chick is your favorite already. Fair. Everyone's gonna have their preferences. The doorbell rang and Belle grabbed Vance's hand. Oh, another arrival! And with that, Belle hurried Vance away, sounding slightly winded. Finally, I was starting to think it would be just me and this guy all night. The taller person said nothing, but the lack of response did not seem to slow the woman down. So, who do we have here? 2 of you, right? She prodded them with her cane, thwacking them about the ankles. Or just one person with a really big imp. Oh, no, it's 2 of us. So you can speak. Well, that's helpful. Yes, I'm Dr. Harold Ludikill, and I'll be performing the seance this evening. Man, she wasn't kidding when she said she was getting an expert. Harold beamed. Shame it had to be you, though. Ooh. And just who do you think you are? Harold did his best to shush Faraday. It's like, only I'm allowed to insult them. Wait, what? Perfect voice for her. I go off vibes. It's like with Belle, they specifically said she had a raspy voice, so I'm trying to do it in a way that doesn't hurt my throat by just being soft-spoken. But the woman heard him anyway and could scarcely hold back a petal of arrogant laughter. Me? I'm Dia Deleuze. Dia Deleuze. Harry gave an audible groan of disappointment, which only served to make her grin even more broadly. Yep, Lat Deleuze. If you see the ship with our marking, then I designed it. Even if you haven't seen the marking, we make half the ships in the harbor, so, you know, you're welcome. For, like, all the free trade you enjoy each day. Yeah, being a natural imitation, yeah. I can only go so far. But I got water. Faraday gritted his teeth and decided not to let the shipwright get away with the sight. Big deal, you made 1 or 200 ships. Good for you. I've been on better. Oh, big words, mister? It's Faraday. Holly Faraday. The loose shrugged. Never heard of you. Faraday sucked in a breath to tell Deleuze exactly who he was. But Harold held a hand and gave him a desperate, pleading look as they looked down the journal sullenly and scrawled his ire into it instead of saying anything aloud. Yeah, take your notes. Shipwright thinks she's so special because she's economically noteworthy. De la Deleuze. De la Deleuze. I do like that they have little assistants on how to pronounce the names. Doubles available. Welcome. How you doing? Harry turned to the taller fellow, hoping to have a little more luck with them. Hello, a pleasure to meet you. The figure gave the slightest of nods, and then stared at Harold, offering no further greeting or conversation. Harry's mind had half a dozen reasons why Goose might choose to commit this social slight, and how each of them was probably Harold's own fault. Is Dilly How do they pronounce it again? I already forgot. Daya. Daya, no. Day is tall. He was so wrapped up in the preemptive guild that he almost missed it when they did speak. Hey.
A great listener, this one. I was just telling him about how marriage is a scam.
Harold did not have time to ask what could have caused such a topic to come up. He just got straight to nodding. Yes, spending your life with just one person would be so limiting. I disagree. Commitment is nice. That's not to say that life partnership doesn't have its upsides. Faraday rolled his eyes. You getting dizzy over there? Miss Deleuze, did you happen to know anything about Gareth Canterbury?
Just that she died and people keep talking about it.
Why am I suddenly forgetting how to say her name? Daya. It's Daya. Why am I forgetting? Daya Deleuze gave a carefree shrug.
How about you, Goosey?
Was it me? Outside the room, there was a litting melancholic cry of joy. Deleuze's head turned attentively. What you updating here? I know, I keep looking at the journal. I can't help it. It wasn't them. Okay. Day of the Loose. Yeah. It's like, hey, that's one way to remember it. You're good at remembering names for me, Cody. Keep doing that.
Please tell me that's who it sounds like it is?
The sound of fawning excitement traveled down the hall, and before long the host arrived, her new guest in tow.
Ooh!
The door swung open, revealing a figure swathed in pink silks and sheer beaded fabric. Her eyes shone with abundant delight. Harold gave a slight gasp of enthusiasm. It's Clarice Myers!
She's so pretty. I love her hair thing.
Who? If you can't take an interest in current events, we'll never have anything to talk about. We could talk about the current state of mold in your kitchen. Oh, your parlor is beautiful. Is it the inspiration for Duchess Baker's parlor? How could you tell? I've been rereading all of her scenes. The way that bookshelf is positioned, and the pattern of the chair. Yes, I picture her scheming up all of her nefarious plots right in that chair over there. The eccentric young lady crossed the room to run her hand along the fabric of the arm. Oh, that gives me a perfectly wicked vibe. Can I send it? You certainly can. The lady settled into the chair, and the innocent features of her face contorted into a sinister glare. She threw back her head and gave a laugh so chilling, goosebumps rose on the back of Faraday's neck. Ooh! Try as you might, for as long as you live, you'll never prove it was me, Constance Little Bear. I'm glad you see the vision. Belle's jaw dropped. Exactly how I imagined her. I love it. Miss Myers, I think you're disturbing the other guests. The young lady hopped up from the chair, eyes once again wide and apologetic. Yeah, it's like, I'm never gonna get all these names straight. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm just so thrilled to see it for myself. No, Debbie, stop being such a spoil sport. Miss Myers, I couldn't have asked the director to cast a better Duchess.
Yeah, are you kidding? A preview performance right here? Sounds like she knows how to party, unlike the rest of you chumps.
Yeah, she's pretty good at the role playing. Hell yeah. We love to see it. Speaking of role plays, we're doing one as a Halloween special, so be here next Thursday. And by that I mean this upcoming Thursday, the 30th. Daya poked Goose in the knee with her cane.
When are you gonna start doing an evil laugh? That seems like something a real hitman man would have.
Better if they don't hear you coming.
Never seen my coming.
This guy is starting to creep me out. Shush, don't let him hear you. Bill and Myers, however, were still off in their own little world fawning over each other. Oh, I hate to be a bother, but Miss Bell, can I please have you sign this copy of the chain? I have all of the ones with your stories in them, but this one is my favorite. Constance racing to solve the murder before the train pulls into the next station, all while knowing she might be found by the conductor. It was so thrilling. I have to assume Faraday is the science dude, I think? I don't know. Belle took the less than pristine magazine and unclipped a gleaming bronze fountain pen from her pocket. Her signature was large and loopy in a striking indigo ink. I use this pen for all my manuscripts, too. This thing just seems like it makes my pen flow faster. Myers' eyes sparkled with admiration as she took the signed copy back. She stared in awe as if she had just seen magic. Belle seemed to remember that the rest of the guests were there. Oh, let me introduce Miss Clarice.
Clarice Myers!
Yeah, cursive. Who uses cursive?
Loved you and that one with the flower girl and, elocution lessons.
Deleuze hopped to the front of the group, quickly shaking Myers' hand.
Didn't think you had a villain in you, but you sure proved me wrong.
Oh, thank you. I promise I could be very evil when I want to be. Oh! Vance looked over to Clarice, finally giving an approving nod. My dear, are you wearing your imp in your hat? Oh, yes, I'm awfully glad that someone noticed. It's all the fashion uptown. Watch.
Oh, that must be the little imp.
Elocution speech practice. Oh. Yeah, opera O vibes.
D-E-M-U, opera O.
The small creature rose from her hat and quietly, with the poise of a ballerina, began to dance. Oh. Clarice Myers sang, a crystalline soprano weaving a hauntingly pretty melody. The others all stopped what they were doing and crowded around to watch them perform. Vance smiled and Deleuze stopped fidgeting, an ear turned intently up to listen. The little imp moved with grace, elegance, and far too many joints. Domo Delihi, welcome, how you doing? After a moment, however... Uh-oh! Harold crossed the room quickly, pulling a chalk from his jacket pocket. Miss, allow me to... Myers did not let a hint of awkwardness or effrontery show. Oh dear, don't mind. That happens all the time. See, I can make a new one. Oh, she can make a new one. Ah, she? Who? She can make a new one. Whoops, I misread that. You couldn't afford a singer, so just use your imagination. Oh. And the fruit or the bird? Why not both? The little imp placed a tiny hand on its cheek, as if laughing off embarrassment. And its mask reformed. Ah, what a clever little trick. The imp bowed, then hid away, back among the flowers of Myers' hat. Who lives in the pineapple London, does she? Do. Yeah, I could just fill in the blanks. Oh. La 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 la. Oh yes, fruit. But yes, welcome. Good to see ya. Harold slunk back over to Faraday's side. Do you think it's okay? Though he had whispered, Deleuze must have been feeling particularly nosy because she chirped for all to hear.
Of course she's okay. Everybody's imps do weird stuff sometimes.
Yeah, imps seem to be a thing in this world.
It doesn't mean anything.
Quite right. One look at that beautiful imp and one can tell that it harbors a beautiful soul. The imp is the pure expression of an artist's creative drive, her ability. One shouldn't trivialize it. There was general agreement amidst the room, and the others took to chatting. Harold wandered over to the far corner and wondered if he could summon something that could drag him straight off the face of the earth. Is that really what people think nowadays, that imps are their creativity? Their souls? They break them out for fun little shows? You were gone a while, Holly. We did all that research, and the public just traded one life for another. Look, this journal you've got me writing in. It's my old notebook. I'll just open it up and show them my notes. Leave it be. Her imp is advanced, to be sure, and maybe nothing will happen. If you try to tell them this darling of the stage has a demon, that if she uses it like this, it will make it stronger and more dangerous, we'll be mocked and maybe even forcibly removed. Are we responsible for at least trying to correct them? If someone gets hurt and we said nothing. Faraday was no stranger to Harold's haggard, tired expressions. But as Harold looked at him, his eyes communicated a fatigue so deep it must have taken years to accumulate. I hate this city. They'd eat a rock if you told them it was an oyster. Always knows that Imps and Demons is available to read. Yes. Should have time. So to summarize the points for the presentation, demons aren't just the big monsters that lurk in the woods or destroy small villages. Everyone might even have a really tiny demon running around hiding their keys or eating their socks or something. So they're like yokai. Yeah. What's this game about?
Is a mystery.
Someone's probably gonna get murdered. Eventually. We humans contribute to them via negative emotions. The difference between a harmless or harmful demon is how powerful we let them get. But what if, pause for effect, we could put the demons someplace where they can't feed off us? Professor Ludikill has developed a system for capturing renegade or stray demons. We can use the sealing alchemy to combine demons to objects or locations, but we absolutely must take responsibility for our own demons. The professor's goal is for each person to have the option, to seal their own demon deep within themselves. The professor has already successfully done this on 2 people. See, show photographs of my eyes, of the professor comment on his own suppression once it's done. Let's get that funding. Meeting went well. They refused to treat the process as a medical procedure, talked about rebranding demons. Harry said that we should be open to whatever gets us the funds we need. I'm not going to lie to these assholes for money. Screw this. Yeah, so it looks like people are making deals with their little devils. Love to stay, but you gotta get ready for it. Alright, rest well, Road Dog. Thanks for stopping by. Always good to see you. Let's get out of this room and start sealing the mansion. Good idea. I have to spend 1 more minute in here. I'm gonna lose it. Alright, it's like, where should we start? Kitchen? Of all the ridiculous... Vance put her hand down on a piece of paper when they entered, but left a small, vibrantly violet corner visible. Whoops. When she moved to grasp it the rest of the way, she dropped it. Faraday rushed over to pick it up. It says, Bernadette Bell, tonight we are coming to steal. Vance snatched it away, then crumpled the paper up. I'm sorry, this is a letter that was slipped under the door. Yeah, Tavi is definitely my imp. Little mischievous boy. Miss Bell didn't want it to distract from the party tonight, so she asked me to get rid of it. Yeah, that thing sure looks like some distraction. She gets threats sometimes. It's nothing serious. Well, I'll be finished sealing this place in a bit. I mean, no one can leave or enter, so she should be safe. Vance did not seem mollified by this. She waved her hand. Don't let that soup boil over. Of course. It's like, so an imp is what you get when you seal a demon in yourself? I guess. It seems like demons feed off your negative emotions, so if you seal it into something and then use it, you could probably exploit it. But that probably comes at a major price. Yeah, the pudding angel, Taffiel. Harold fell over the table in his rush to comply. Not you, the help. Or rather, the other help. Harold watches an imp the size of a very large oven bumbled by. Oh, geez. It walked slowly, as if moving at all was a chore. The heat emanating from it, even from yards away, made Faraday start to sweat. It opened its mouth and a whistling filled the room. Faraday grimaced and covered his ears. The large imp removed a tea kettle, poured a cup, and put the kettle back in its mouth. Yeah, so scientists do just want to seal them away so they can't harm anything, but others want to actually use them. Yes, that seems to be the thing. Like, Faraday especially seems pretty pissed about it and really wants people to not do that. Meanwhile, Harold is like, I just want a paycheck. As soon as its mouth was closed, the sound stopped. Vance took the cup, sipping in and surveying the room. On the table, a knife-like imp was chopping some form of leafy garnish. Oh god. Oh, a knife flying all over the place on its own. Watching that isn't disconcerting in the least. You needn't fear. It is all well under control. So, the height of technology allows people to finally take a good hard look inside. And what have we done? Sold them to the highest bidder. What's next? Legalizing the black market for organs? These are just rental imps. Some hard-working people, through no fault of their own, very much need that money.
Oh, thank you for the follow. Domo, welcome.
Faraday seems like a good side. He's not messing with something he doesn't understand. Yeah, no, he takes his demonology very seriously. Belle considers it magnanimous to at least help those people with their debts. She rents from these people often, but they go back to their originators after a month. It's their decision if they want to rent them out again. It's messed up either way. Vance turned away to check back in on the other imp that was washing dishes. Dinner is almost ready. If you don't hurry, the food will be cold for everyone. Harold hurried over to the windows and set the ceiling them. Had he been in front of the classroom, he might have added a touch of flourish to his hand motions. He would have explained the process in affectionate detail and called out his words loudly, emphasizing unnecessary syllables in order to add pomp and majesty. But instead he huffed 3 quick breaths under the windows and traced symbols on the foggy glass. He closed his eyes and focused on the roiling, abundant anxiety within his gut, and without a word pressed it all down. The glass grew hot under his touch. A quick dash of salt and it was done. One more seal down. Harold finished sealing the windows and the 2 men left. That probably would be good for the winter to prevent the chill from coming in. Office? This must be where she writes. Good to know at least one room here isn't just for decoration. Not everything has to be utilitarian. It does on a ship. Such a braggart. Galvanizing off on ocean travels while the rest of us are stuck boarding ourselves up in dry study. Yeah, renties must not be making enough to solve their original problems. They keep coming back. Yeah, but it's like, it's one of those well-intentioned kind of things. But yeah. It's not like I got a lot of time above deck. You think I had a lovely time working on my tan? And you don't even have the grace to look back on it fondly. You're a fundamentally ungrateful person. Says the guy who hasn't washed his own laundry in 3 months. Harold set about sealing these windows too. While he was deep in concentration. Oh! You boys already got in here? I came up to open the door for you. I usually leave this room locked. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. We were just about to finish up here. It's quite alright. I leave anything important double locked. You wouldn't have found it even if you tried. Harold's teeth were grinding loud enough for Belle to hear them across the room. Please, Dr. Ludikill. You don't need to be so on edge all the time. Guess it's messed up to look down on people for being poor. Yeah. Well, you know how they keep referring to them as the help? It's like, the help. It's like, I guess they are, but on the other hand, the way you say it. But, you know. I assure you, I'm already aware of your history, but I have the utmost confidence. Well, I think that Faraday could handle this room on his own. I'll just head along, shall I? Faraday sprinkled down the last line of salt along the windowsill, and Harry rushed out of his room. The help of the grain fell. So I've heard, but I never seen it. Cheeks burning with shame. Belle carefully relocked the room behind them and tucked the key into her sleeve. Okay, boiler room. The help is an okay term. It depends on the vibes. Exactly. That's why I'm like, context is important. I recommend? Okay, I'll keep that in mind. They took a staircase down and found themselves in a boiler room. Harold got right to work. While Faraday lingered, peering over the railing. The boiler was immense, large enough to fit a carriage inside. Why make a room like this so big? It's a big house. But it's quite something to look at. It must cost a lot to heat this place. Can we heat your place more this winter? If this job leads to another one, maybe. If you say no, then I'm sleeping in your bed. You stay in your own room. It's like, you sure you don't want him to be in your bed? You sure about that? You sure? You sure? As the two returned to the parlor, they found Clarice admiring the decor. Miss Myers, do you know anything about Gareth Canterbury? The illustrator? She was Miss Belle's dearest confidant, and she was murdered. Terrible how the papers kept sensationalizing it and hounding her for the interviews. She clearly has nothing to do with it, and yet they're harassing her just because she's famous and writes about murders. Come on, bro, I'm cold. Yeah, do it for a bro. All this to sell papers. It's so heartbreaking. Thank you! It's disgusting that people want to wring money out of other people's tragedies. Dreadful. I feel so sorry for Miss Bell. I hope you will all be gentle with her feelings tonight. She's probably trying to take her mind off the whole thing. Polly clicked his tongue. I don't think she is. She hired me some of the ghosts. That seems so ghoulish. Literally. Wow! This party is getting better every minute. And will only improve now that I'm here, gorgeous. The group turned to see the new arrival. Oh boy, another person I have to voice. I'm admittedly intrigued, but that's some big talk. A man waltzed into the room with the utmost confidence. Oh. We got elves. We got elves. Alright, guys, we got an elf. A very dapper elf. He sported coiffed hair, a lilac waistcoat that was so out of style. It bordered on a kind of archaic? Chic? I can't read. And a pair of long, tapered ears. Faraday barely noticed the others enter the room. Van supported a slightly winded Belle on her arm, helping her into a chair. Archaic. So it is archaic. Being too boring would literally kill me, so I'm very motivated. I mean, we got imps, demons, and a person with a gaping chest hole. At this point, I'm gonna say the sky's the limit. Yeah, it's like, we got elves now. Oh, your ears! Are you a fae? I've only heard about them in books.
What do his ears look like?
Dia prodded Goose again with her cane, prompting him on. Oh, she's blind. It only took me until now to realize that. Oh my god. Yeah, D&D Victorian era, which I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. Yeah, Faye mentioned. Cute.
Subjective descriptions don't help.
They're pointy. And very charming. Charming is subjective. Nonsense. Charming is objectively very, very me. I'm Lupine Flowers. And no, it isn't every day you meet a fae. Van squinted at Lupine. I don't actually remember inviting you. I wasn't invited, but I thought that was rude. Such a collection of adorable people and me not invited. Shame. Plus, I was friends with Canterbury. Carrie's good to me. I found out you were going to be contacting her tonight. Call me romantic, but I couldn't miss a last chance at seeing her. I didn't realize it either. It's like the glasses and the cane should have been a giveaway, but yeah. It's a different blind person staring at people. It couldn't hurt. And Gareth was so quiet, I didn't even know she had any other friends. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Well, if you're certain. Debbie, shouldn't you know better than anyone else never to turn away a fae? Nonsense. As an expert, I know that the fae are all sweet, adorable, wholesome creatures. They are born amidst a cabbage patch, and tenderly rock the children to sleep at night. Ha! Thought you was just quirky, yeah, right? Where'd you get that nonsense? It sounds like something out of a Deborah Vance storybook. She's Deborah Vance, isn't she? Can you get dinner started, Debbie? You have the cooking and serving imps in the kitchen, don't you? Of course. Please be careful. Lupine bounced on his toes and turned to Belle with a friendly grin. What an odd pair, you and her. Her books are all old, stuffy, plotless fairy stories, and you write exciting, gruesome murders. Witnessing such a wild faux pas, Harold was white in the face, murmuring. He knew that she was Deborah Vance and still said that to her face? Oh, God! The glasses and the cane on their own would be a getaway, but together they are. Yeah. And the fact that she's been poking Goose this entire time, being like, tell me things. Little prissy Miss Cabbage Patch edits your tales of murder? Ha! You're just full of such wonderfully vibrant ideas. I can see it in your eyes and in your writing. Lupine looked at Belle with the most adoring smile to accompany the compliment. Whatever could a frump like that bring to the table that you didn't already have in spades? Oh, Myers hopped like a child in the classroom, one eager to be called on by a teacher. Miss Bell, do you mind if I tell him? Go right ahead. It's infinitely more fun to hear my accomplishments coming from someone else's mouth. Myers dove in. Miss Bell published the first mystery under a pen name, you see. She wasn't confident in her work. Though the first one wasn't a major hit, it got people excited about the characters, and she started to write more stories. A couple years ago, she got picked up at the chain. That's when I found out about her. The poking down to being playfully rude. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where you add up together, like, oh! That's when I started reading her as well. You can get the chain in Arcadia, if you know the right guys. Well, eventually Miss Bell felt confident enough to reveal her real name. Miss Bell was a brand new writer, but as you know, Miss Vance has been around for 100 years looking at those crow's feet. You only get brow creases that bad from scowling all the time. Miss Vance has been around for a while longer, so she has a lot of publishing connections as she helped Miss Bell get into the industry. Faraday balanced the journal against his arm now more. Taking notes. Okay. When Faraday looked up, Lupine was already behind him, peering over his shoulder. Wah! Another cute writer? I'm gonna get overstuffed with stories tonight. They're just notes. Oh, are you casing the joint? Miss Bell does have some amazing things, though. She's been collecting cult items? That's what I read. You see some in her gorgeous curio case over there. The loose scolded goose.
You didn't tell me that's what's in the curio case?
I didn't look. Well, how about I give you all a tour? This pair of silver rods are supposed to be useful for finding hidden items. Avalanche Lupine is a werewolf? Sure. This bike is my most recent purchase. The seller said it was the tooth of a toxic shark demon.
Oh, Goosey, is it stained with blood?
Goose grinned. Nah, but it's about the size of your fist.
Whoa!
This set of candles is from the first successful angel summoning. Faraday leaned over to whisper to Harold. That's not a thing, right? Some demons are good liars. These coins are said to be clues that lead to a treasure map. Something for me to keep busy with once I retire, I suppose.
Invite me along for that one. I definitely want treasure discoverer on my resume.
Down here is a device that reacts to ghostly presence. I plan to test it tonight. Miss Bell, please don't get your hopes up. Devices like that tend to be completely fake. Unlike Harry here. Faraday muttered under his breath. This last one is my personal favorite. It's a listening device that can pick up people's inner thoughts that are floating around the air. I've heard a lot of interesting things in the ether. Incredible, but you must hear such strange things. They could be strange and difficult to decipher. But they really can push me right through when I'm feeling stuck. The inner mind is such an intriguing place. With the others distracted, Harold shook his head in disbelief. The doorbell chimed again, and Belle smiled as she excused herself. Most of the group stayed crowded around the case, admiring the items. But Faraday and Harold pulled back to talk privately. If you're going to be selling fake seances, then we might as well get into the fake artifact business, too. Demon sharks. Holly curled his fingers and with both hands pantomimed a large pair of jaws. He chomped upon Harold's arm. Arf. Is that another voice at the door? What other voice? For even the moments, Harold smiled, but it gave way to his usual demeanor. I certainly hope they're all fake. What if one of those were actually someone's severed imp? The ones in the kitchen are bad enough. Oh, hi, Taffy. But at least they're under Vance's control. Another character for you to voice, I mean. I'm hoping that this is all the characters. It was approved and rented out the stuff in the cabinet. And Taffy's on my lap again. Yeah, pet kitty.
Synchronized cat things, yeah. Mwah, kiss the kitty.
If one got up and got loose, speaking of getting loose, maybe we should get to sealing those windows. I don't want to miss dinner because I'm hanging off the road putting salt down for you. At least meet all the guests first. Barely found anything at all about Canterbury. Try guessing to make this as convincing as possible. Though looking at the case, she seems like she's the type to believe you can move without rowing. Or rowing. Hey! Harold narrowly avoided both a heart attack and a faceplant straight into Faraday's sweater. We'll be right back! I'm going off on a little unauthorized tour with a cutie on my arm. No telling, okay? You only get to peek into other people's houses on a rare occasion. The Luce and Lupine slid out of the room before anyone could give any kind of objection. Damn, that Faye was the only one who claimed he knew Canterbury. It would be great to know what kind of thing Belle's expecting to ask her. I would assume it's something about the murder. That or confessing some sort of feelings. That'd be a lot easier, if not more ethical. Peeked into houses. Does she know? Bernadette Belle re-entered the room for just a moment, followed by a formally dressed military man. Oh no, another person, the voice. Oh no. His boots made a loud, crisp sound as he walked. Unless we are graced by more Fae, this is our final guest, Lieutenant Merrick Nowak. The man who now darkened the parlor doorway caused Holly to narrow his eyes. You know him? When you've been at sea as long as I have, you know one, you know them all. Nowak shot Clarice a smile. He's not the killer, I'd be very surprised, yeah, right? It's good to see that I have some other guests I can recognize. I went to your first show on a date with the woman who would be my future wife. She loves your work. Oh, how sweet. Have you got yourself someone special? Oh no, I'm not interested in that kind of thing. At least not in real life. A girl as pretty as you? You're very flattering, Lieutenant. As I said, I'm not really interested. You don't have to come up with excuses. Like I said, you look very... Oh, ho, ho, ho. You couldn't afford the Duchess's tea, let alone upkeep her lifestyle. Lifestyle? I must go. My flock of peacocks requires a good, solid tutting. It's like, sir, you're married. Stop flirting. Unless she's dead. You could be dead. Didn't he say first wife? Wait, did he say first wife? Hold on. No. But could have been the first. Yeah, he just said wife. Maya skipped out the door. Nowak made to follow. But Faraday moved quickly in the way. Hey, Nowak, didn't you say you were married? Maya's a super pretty bride for Belle. Dea's your fave, though. Yeah. Understandable. Pretty much agree. Butt out. What's that matter to you who she is or isn't interested in? No one's talking to you, Porky. You're the porky one, water pig. Ooh. Nowak stepped towards Faraday, who stared him down right back. The metals on Lieutenant Nowak's chest shifted. Oh. Opening to reveal a scramble of glaring eyes. Step aside or I'll step on you. Damn. It's like, it'll be dead, but I hesitate to give the Revenant a doubt. Like, don't worry about it. Faraday's ankle jerked aside at an odd angle, and he barely kept it from twisting. His hands trembled. Leave her alone. Luckily for Faraday, Bill chose that moment to return to the parlor. Lieutenant Nowak, I ask you to please not use your imp on my guests. Of course, Miss Bell. That's one dangerous creature. They're all dangerous. Not at all. It only helps make sure people listen to what they're told. What toffee? You beat up my head. First you want to shit on my lap, now he's staring at me. What? What do you want? It's essential to have discipline in the military. Oh, we're not in the military. I was just giving him a little scare as a joke. I wasn't gonna do anything. We're all friends here. Merrick shoved Faraday a bit roughly, knocking him off balance. Yeah, how's that make that safe? Harry managed to catch his arm. It was painfully obvious he would be the bad guy. Yeah, right? Holly, don't make a scene. I don't think I could if I wanted to. What the hell kind of species is that? See, it's fine. He's fine. So you said all imps are dangerous? Of course, any imp could destroy a man. Well, I assume that means yours is quite ferocious? Because if you had a demon, I'd have to do my duty by the law. I'd just see things. Noah gave a low, deep chuckle. I will be sure to beware then. Harry cleared his throat and tried to pull his friend aside out of the line of fire. We should probably finish getting the place sealed. I'll take my assistant with me. Harold gave an apologetic smile to Belle. Belle returned with a warm glance of her own. It shone genuine. I must ask you a question, but I'm sure we go for later. Yeah, it's like, Noak's the one where you're like, you want him to be the murderer, but he's not. Thank you, Dr. Ludikill. Ludikill? That Ludikill? Isn't he under house arrest? Laughter erupted from outside the parlor. Wherever Noak had been about to say, he was soon miles away. His attention had been completely diverted. I'll show you because I really mean anywhere I'm locked out of. Bam! Dea, so good to see you. At the sound of Lieutenant Noak's voice, the Luce froze and turned to walk right back out the way she came. So, Mr. Flowers, need a light for your cigarette? Oh no, you'd be amazed at what I could do with fire. Let's find a big room and I'll show you. Yeah, Schrodinger's jerk. The killer or just a general bad guy? Yeah, you never know. Faraday smirked as they left. Yeah, Schrodinger. 2 for 2 with the ladies tonight, huh? Seems like she's not that into you, deckhand. She's just being playful. It's her way. Ollie, let's go. What, Taffy? Why are you screaming at me, baby? Harold picked up his large container of salt and the pair left the room. I want to tie that guy to an anchor and throw him into a raging storm. As far as I could tell, it seemed like the Luce would probably help you. As would most of my old crewmates. You know, the sailor ratio is all off here. Too much law. What if we called in some of them? Please don't get us into trouble here, Holly. You promised you weren't going to embarrass me. Sorry, I didn't know it was embarrassing to stand up for yourself. You know what I mean. Don't get in Noak's face and make a big scene. You might not have a spine, but I could still locate mine. An officer like that could actually hurt us. He could hurt you. Fine, I'll try not to rile him up. But if he starts it, I can't promise I won't fight back. Mom and the rest of the crew didn't raise me to bow to guys like that. Wait, so was his mom a sailor? Was she a sea lady? You finished sealing the mansion. Yeah, no spine. That would explain the shrimp posture. They were barely done before it was time for dinner. Vance's carefully chosen seating took some shuffling to fix. Faraday disregarded the name cards as a suggestion and sat down next to Harold. The Luce switched seats at the last moment, leaving Clarice next to Merrick. Lupine didn't even have a name card, but in the end, the guests all took their seats at the table, the smell of roasted garlic and juicy turkey already floating down the hall. Yum. Vance wheeled in a cart with a lovely ivy patterned cloth. Atop it was a large tureen of soup. And yeah, they colored the art in this. The texture is lovely, but you can't... Oh, it's watercolored! No, it's hand-painted watercolored. For the backgrounds, I don't know what they did. They might have taken an actual photo and they might have painted over it. That's my guess. For the backgrounds. The characters, they obviously drew themselves. When she opened the lid, a fragrant cloud of steam billowed out and she dished the bowls. Belle glanced to check that everyone had gotten their soup, but started shortly afterwards, prompting the others to begin to eat as well. Clarice, I must apologize. I haven't been able to assist in your character workshops. It's quite alright. Thank you for everything. The rewrites are so extensive. It feels digital. That's some serious skill. It doesn't look digital to me, honestly. It does look like they probably just took a picture and like painted over it. You know what I mean? For the backgrounds, at least. The characters, they probably drew, and then after they sketched it, they filled it in with the colors, and then they scanned it and photoshopped to make it transparent. That's my guess. Yeah, I guess dinner means no more guess. I think we're locked in. Oh, you meant the characters. Yeah, no. If you look really close, you can see some white in the corner, so they probably like cropped out the parts that was the white paper that they were sketched on. They probably did that in, like, Photoshop or something. It's my responsibility to get you the best script possible. But the director says that he's assembled the finest cast in his career. Yeah, no, I'm impressed too. When I saw the art, I was like, ooh. People are pretty excited for it, even out of town. I've heard my patrons talking about it, but the show's a hot topic in the shipyards too. They said you might be touring with the show if it does well? Yes, I always wanted to travel around the country. Maybe even around the world. But it's so expensive and scary to do alone. Oh, just imagining that glamorous tour. Meeting stars, getting fan letters ferried over the ocean just to tell me they love the show. I should have drawn the music layers. That's not an option for digital, though. No. This is very, what's the word? Rustic? It would be a dream come true to have so many people see me perform. Luffy ran his spoon around in the bowl, swirling the soup. He made a small whirlpool in it, and the broth splashed over the side. He didn't bring the spoon to his lips. I have a lot to go over this evening, but while we eat, we should try to keep it light. So I think we should ask Goose the question any person would have for someone in their profession. How do you get jobs? You mean jobs? Killing people? Yes. It's not as fun as you're hoping. I had a boss. He told me who to go after. That's it. What do you mean you had a boss? Retro? I wouldn't say retro. I think retro, I think more technology. I mean, technically it is. That could have been done how the faces changes are done. Yeah, they could have traced it over with paper and stuff. There are so many ways you could have done it. Which is why I'm like, it's very impressive. What happened to him? The same thing happens to everyone eventually. Retirement? Essentially. So handsome and mysterious. Lupin cooed at Goose. Goose stared down at their soup bowl. Lieutenant Noack laughed and pointed at the hole in Goose's middle. Well, looking at you, he took a severance package. Goose took their time slurping up some soup. He hella dead. Before responding. You should have seen the other guy. Eh? Goosey, what's that creep talking about? I'm not all here. I'm partly somewhere else. Where? Sold my imp a while back. Like other folks, it left a hole. Mine's kinda hard to hide, though. Hell if I know where the imp is now. Oh, so they literally can take a part of you. My goodness. Vance called from across the table. Language! Sorry, I'm just saying if I knew where that part was, I would be there too. Lupin leaned back in his chair and let out a loud whine. I'm famished. Can't someone tell me a good story already? Anyone have weird family secrets? A saucy romance? A neat gender? It's like, sir, please. The Luz finished her first glass of wine. Lily killed transgender. He did? Don't do the pun, Harold. I swear it's not as funny as you. Why, yes. Well, you see, at its core, alchemy is the study of transmutating one set. Oh no, I think that Mr. Lupin is looking for one of the more unfashionable genders. You just realized Goose has a hole in his chest. Yeah, he let out his little imp. His throat tightened, and Harold squeaked out something so high and soft only Holly could hear it. I wanna die. You could die next week. That's what you said last week. Lupin pounded across his arms. Give me something else. Something really interesting. Mr. Seance guy. Haven't said much. Tell me your story. The quiet ones always make me curious. Nothing much to tell. Don't be modest, Ludikill. It would be rude to leave our Fey guest hungry. Though maybe you'd be worried that he'd throw up your story. Lupin, are you saying that you really haven't heard of Professor Ludikill and that whole scandal? I can't say I have. He basically invented this whole imp craze. It was a mistake, sure, but you can't be that hard on the guy for not knowing all the consequences of your research from the start. I think they're lovely. Imp saw a mistake. No one is mad at Ludikill for that. Imps are useful and we could get a good long look at anyone's true self using them. And we could also tell when someone has been lying and waiting to prey upon all the innocent people around them. Especially when they slip up and expose their true nature at an event with thousands in existence. Oh, and what was that? Silverware clattered. You'll love the Ludikill Toka's pronunciation. It's the only thing that'll stick. Oops. Dropped my damn spoon. Attendance, not existence. Oops. Sorry, I can't read. Language. As I was saying, everyone used to think really high of Ludikill. But the city wised up quick when we all saw, oops! And he had smacked into a bowl, overturning it. Dropped my fucking soup! Language! Faraday flashed Harold a smile. Harold could have kissed him. That was if he hadn't felt suddenly very nauseous.
You okay? You okay?
Well then, the gentleman with the very pale hair. You must have some stories. I'm just asking for a little appetizer. Alright. So one time we were up in the Lake of Frost. Coldest I've ever seen, like I had ice in my lungs. I had 3 blankets on, yet the frost still got through. The boat was pitching around in the waves, rocking like it was about to flip over. We could have died in the water. It was freezing, but I still finished my research notes and I wrote a letter.
So you did nothing.
It was an excellent letter. I still have it. Noah skewered something on his fork. It's real cute the way little guys like that get excited about travel. He goes on one boat and now he's got a lifetime of naval experience. It was one boat for multiple years, but go on. Noah ignored his interjection. Now me. He snorted, chewed twice, and swallowed. I got a whole fleet of ships to surrender. I read about that in the paper. I bet the paper didn't tell you how you did it. Vance barely raised the volume of her voice, but her stern voice carried. No politics at the table, sirs. No offense, but I think you all need to work on your storytelling. If you let them fight, it could make for a good story. No, it wouldn't be out of place in a frat. To be fair, he always thought it was odd that someone steps in a military observation they're considered a veteran. Yeah, I don't know. Formalities. Absolutely not.
Okay, let me give you a good one. So I had this friend. She was in the worst relationship ever, basically. She had a controlling, overprotective father and only, like, one friend. The friend was basically a nobody. She figured if she married him, she could get out of the house. And maybe her big fancy family name might help him out. You know, get him up a few ranks in the military.
Noah gave a cough. Sounded like the growl of some large beast. I don't think that story is suitable for dinner either. Lupine's eyes flitted from the loose to Noah back. That's such a shame for your friend, quote unquote. If she needs someone to comfort her, I know just the guy. The loose trailed a finger on the rim of her wine glass.
Well, he won't happen to be extremely charming, would he?
Oh, he is. Let's talk about something else. I agree. Vance stood up to dish the main course, a large roasted turkey. To all the guests, at Vance's command, a small razor-thin imp carved neat cuts off the carcass. Oh, why don't we have Debbie tell us about Faye? Vance kept her eyes firmly locked on her work.
Thank you for the final double welcome.
I may have been working from older source books, but it was a long time ago. Establishment for the sake of the reader is normal, and an artist can find herself sorely limited by facts. Don't you worry, I don't care, I think it's funny. I can tell you've certainly increased the number of people who ask me if I've come from a cabbage field, and it's great to see the look on their face when I tell them, not I was born from the little dewdrops on a spider web, and I carried a little mushroom as an umbrella.
I feel like I remember getting that kind of story read to me. They were really popular. But now only kids and old ladies like that stuff. Yeah, Double Travel, welcome. How you doing?
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate support for small streamers. Welcome. How you doing? Hope you're having a good weekend so far. I did start them quite a long time ago. What do you write now? The carving imp went through a bone. It gave out a little cry, and Harold flinched at the sound. You wouldn't understand how frustrating it is to be limited by what readers expect of you. Faraday had spent enough time procrastinating on his papers to feel sympathetic. Yeah, writing isn't that easy, but I'm sure you've learned a lot since your early work. I mean, at least your stories are probably better than that first one Belle wrote. That Bo one's terrible. Am I right? Tearing down one person's work to boost another reflects very poorly on your character.
And the fact that he asked military guys probably clowning someone gloating. Yeah, probably. You're gonna appreciate, wish to save. Yeah, thank you.
You feel so bad for Vance. She seems sweet but appreciated.
Yeah, she's just an old lady that wants to write cute little fairy tales about little fae and cabbage patches.
Miss Vance, you needn't worry so. Even Miss Bell says the first one is very good. The director and Bell are having to rewrite it completely for the stage show. Bell laughed good-naturedly and hit a palm down on the table talk. Yes, it takes some time to find your feet. Vance, my darling, please put a little special thanks credit into the forward if you use my mushroom umbrella idea, okay? I don't mind if you use it, but I want proper credit. Vance looked to be at the end of her rope, embarrassment and annoyance plain on her severe features. I'll be sure to keep that in mind. The somewhat adversarial chatter continued until the guests were all sitting with plates that were empty and stomachs that very much weren't. Vance stacked the plates onto the rolling cart with the ivy cloth, and a serving imp wheeled it away. This has been more fun than I thought it would be, but if you will all follow me to the parlor, it's time for the main event. Guests all settled into the parlor. Belle took a slow, contemplative sip of her sherry. She looked over at Harold, smiling coolly. Yeah, if they are both real troublemakers in this world, they'll probably change the writing.
Yeah. It do be like that.
Harold's nerves have been shot all night, but Faraday could see him beginning to ease up. Harold had always been the sort of person to comply with what was desired of him. His ruin had been quite a shock to all, and he never come close to recovering. Nowadays, people want to conveniently forget that Ludikill existed. They want his unsightly little tale to be over. How could you appease the people around you when they'd all politely rather you did not exist anymore? There was a lurking obvious answer, but tonight there was another, much more agreeable way to please the people around him. And the bit of the old Harold was in his eye again. The lecturer, whose pompous self-worth was only outstripped by genuine awe of those around him. Yeah, it's like, relatable. A man with boundless energy for showcasing the things he loved. Sometimes a bit much. It was hard to keep up with him. For Faraday, Harold's continued assertions of the importance of every little thing may have been fatiguing. But in those bygone days, Harold would look over at Faraday, and Faraday would remember that there was someone Harold adored most of all. Faraday took a sip of his untouched wine. It tasted like vinegar, but his cheeks felt warm, and he hoped the glass would hide them. He did his best to enjoy the memory, and to not think about the years that came afterwards. Interesting. I don't know what you're talking about, but it's adorable how into it you are vibes. Yeah.
Well, this is a visual novel, but there is a point-and-click aspect. It's like visual novels tend to just be, visual novels.
I brought Dr. Ludikill here for a chance to speak to my good friend Canterbury. I have a lot I want to say to her, but I want to know one thing more than anything. Who killed her? I'm going to learn the murderer's name straight from the ghost of my friend herself. My goodness, Miss Bale. Such a gruesome thing to discuss. Wasn't she burned up? What a horrible way to die. This is the only way I'll be getting any valuable information or closure. I know the police of the city.
Understandable conclusion. They never solved my father's murder either. Not exactly competent. Bell nodded.
Dr. Ludikill, I give you the floor.
Yeah, it's the visual novels for you. An old acquaintance had a viewpoint you came to share. A game has win states and lose states. Without those, it's not a game. Well, yeah, a visual novel can have a game over if you choose the wrong dialogue choices. Those are usually the bad endings. Bad endings are you can consider losing. But then you get the good ending, you win. So,
That's why visual novels are considered a game, is they usually have a good ending and a bad ending, win and lose, if you're go by that definition. Not all of them are like that. I mean, kinetic novels don't usually do that, but that's a whole other discussion. Yeah, and then it technically becomes a game. Your puzzle games might not have loose states. It depends. They might have penalties. Thank you, Miss Bell. Now I'll explain how... I must ask, is it something like this dangerous? That makes me want to try it even more. If I'm nervous, can I hold your hand, Mr. Military Man?
Hey there. Hold my hand.
Myra shook her head and clasped her hands. I don't want to be haunted. Harold cleared his throat, and when he spoke, it was with the same warm tone he'd used to reassure failing students. My dear, I assure you, every person in this room is under my protection. Faraday found it easy to slip back into the role of assistant professor. He could almost pretend that they were going to go back to their office afterwards. Believe me, it's completely safe. Yeah, if you can't solve the puzzle, you lose. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even penalties are awful. It depends on the game. I'll need to have you all hold hands. Everything was fine and back to normal. There he was, Dr. Harold Ludikill, alchemist and professor of demonology. I did look up for this game. If you guess the wrong person, you get an ending for that person you picked. So, again, this has a, if I pick the wrong person in this game, I'm gonna get a game over and lose. So, that's totally a game. Anyway, seance time. The energy of summoning something like this needs at least 2 people to dilute the strength. And then old Harry was spouting the most inane bullshit imaginable. The years catching up and descending into him like a collapsing roof. We need to focus our thoughts on people who have died. Miss Bell and anyone else who knew the victim should try to think specifically of her. Once you've all licked hands, imagine Canterbury as vividly as possible. That's more of self-imposed loss, though. Games were more defined by challenge. We don't need to go into the details. It's a philosophy question of what is a game. Harold stood up and put out one of his hands. Faraday took one, and even reluctantly, the whole party linked hands. Lupine gave Deluse's hand an extra squeeze, and she laughed. Now we'll go around counterclockwise. I want each of you to say her name one at a time. I'll start. Gareth Canterbury. Gareth Canterbury. Gareth Canterbury. Gareth Canterbury. Gareth Canterbury. Gareth Canterbury. Gareth Canterbury! Yeah, a miserable pile of rules. Yeah, no, it's fair. What happened? The light went out. Please, don't let go of my hand. Who just bumped me? A cacophony of boots, heels, and shoes sounded against the floorboards. Get the hell off of me! You're the one clinging to my arm! One heavy set of feet seemed to stomp all out about the room. Is this supposed to happen? No. I mean, yes. Yes, of course. This is all part of the process. Please remain calm. Well, if you're all letting go, I'm getting a candle. Please don't. I've got you, Harry. There's more fumbling, the sounds of shifting footsteps, someone bumping against the furniture, and finally... switching between voices on the fly. I'm trying. With the flick of the light, the dim, warm flame waved for a moment, suspended above Lupine's extended pinky. He made his way back over to the light switch. Switched it on. This falls under philosophy, by the way, but that's tangential. Don't worry about it.
He's so fancy.
Both Harold and Oak were clinging to Faraday. He shrugged them off. Deleuze had a suspicious grin on her face. Vance was hyperventilating with panic, and Lupine quickly moved to help her to a chair. You stood exactly where they'd been before, face characteristically blank. They adjusted their hat. Myers was laughing to herself. Harold suspected it was more nervous than she'd like to let on. Despite everything, Harold and Faraday were still in the same position holding hands, and what could no longer be called a circle. The guests looked around, all of them disoriented. Front runner for most punchable face. Is everything okay? Well, actually, I hate to be a bother, but we have to finish performing this ritual or else, Oh no! The demon shark tooth is gone! What? Most of the guests circled over around the curio case, leaving Harold and Faraday still standing with their hands clasped. Good heavens! Mr. Ludikill, didn't you say this place was sealed? It is. And I really have to insist that we finish the... I can't believe it. Such amazing luck. I've been tracing the tiredness about Belle for most of the evening, but now she seemed invigorated, the picture of health. Look, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, so lacking in imagination. Belle is a mystery writer, and now she has herself a mystery. I have got to get my notes. With this building completely sealed up, we could solve this little crime right here and now. Oh no, my spoon is too big.
This should be fun.
But what about... You finish up. I'll be right back. I haven't felt this wonderful for weeks. Belle moved out of the room, muttering excitedly to herself. Actually, I'm not feeling so great. I need a minute to freshen up.
I should do a check around. Well, if someone's hiding out somewhere. Can't solve the mystery if you don't have all the clues.
There is a criminal on the loose. Know where you're going around this place without someone to protect you.
Oh, how horrifying. Someone might take something from my curio cabinet. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I'll get you ticket before they add you, Belle. That might be a boring mystery. Oh, hey, Cosmic. Dea! This is no way to communicate with the voices of the dead. Okay, so quick recap. These are our two main characters. They got a Sherlock Watson dynamic going on. They were both professors at a university. This guy found out about like demons and imps and stuff, and it led to people using imps in like a demon contract ritual type thing for their own benefit. And of course, there's a price to it. And elves are in this world as well, or fae, or whatever. And they basically were brought here to do a seance to talk to a ghost about being murdered. And the person that hired him is a writer lady who writes murder mysteries. Okay, we're good. Who's Sherlock? Probably Harold. I figured Harold, Sherlock, and Faraday's Watson. You've already been straight for how long expected. Daylight savings? Yeah, daylight savings is coming up, but not yet for me. I think for me, daylight savings is November 2nd. I'm trying to get someone else's attention. We're running out of time to find the killer. Oh! Finally, someone's listening to me. Please retrieve Belle before we lose the, mental residence to... What if the person who left the threat did get... What if the person who left the threat did get in? I need to warn Belle. She hustled out of the room. Harold peered over Myers, who was peering towards the door. Please, Miss Myers. We can finish this much faster with a few more people in the chain. I'm so sorry. But if she's gone to get them, I really, really want to see Miss Belle's notes. I'll be right back, I promise. And... I never wanted to see a ghost anyway! Harold looked around. Well, I'm certainly impressed. Is anyone else? Who's there? Lupine hopped from behind a chair. Gotcha. Yeah, it might be easy to ask which one has the drug problem. Yeah, right? And there he goes too. Faraday gave a long sigh. He looked at the empty room and then at Harold's hands. On the bright side, I don't think they're going to notice you can't summon ghosts. I brought 3 stramps from home. Had a whole light show prepared. I'd almost finished unsealing their vessel. It was going to look astounding. But now, let's just reinforce the seal and be done with it. And it's really just sealing and unsealing with you, huh? What else am I good for? That cheeky little line killed the conversation dead. The pair slowly finished their work. I sort of forgot how stressful it was to be around so many people. Oh, yes, I'm a bit out of practice. We'll get through the night, and at least we know neither of us stole the thing. Huh? Suppose that's true. Of course it is. I've let go of my hand since you took it. Heh. You know, maybe having invited a thief to their party will make me look better. No, by comparison? Oh, Fairy, you are really depressing sometimes. If I'm so depressing, why don't you walk away with the others? Well, I would, but if leaving you once caused so much fuss, I hate to... Uh-oh. Stray, how's the imp go stray? Probably running away. A scream rang out. Oh god, what now? Like, I think it's time. They stepped from the parlor. Faraday and Harold could smell a putrid, singed odor. There was more than one scream, and they were able to follow the sound down the hall. They followed it further, descending the boiler room. As the guests gathered as the source of the noise, they were all confronted by an inconsolable Vance. Yeah, she wanted a mystery. In the boiler room, the once stern woman was doubled over, next to a charred body laying in the furnace. Clarice burst straight into tears, and Holly found himself compelled to move over to touch her arm gently. He tried them both to look away from the gruesome scene. Deleuze held her nose, jaws set in a tight grimace. Yeah, it's like it looks like a photo because they probably took one and then painted over it. We discussed this already! Goose offered her the handkerchief and she accepted with a grim nod, holding it to her face. Faraday shot Lupine a nervous look. But it seemed that this twist in the plot was not to his taste. Looks like a direct photo. Yeah! Norak looked towards Deleuze. Harold alone continued to stare at the body. From far away, it simply looked like an unidentifiable charred corpse. But up close, Harold could recognize the musculature of a likely feminine form. Large drops of metal that were once buttons arranged along the torso in a V-shape. And the silhouette of a brow and nose he'd seen so often in the papers. There was just enough left of her to identify. Their host, Bernadette Bell, was dead. Ta-da! I got an achievement! Yay! Did anyone see who did this? No. Just heard the scream. Clarice wailed and clung onto Holly. Why would anyone do something like this? Usually someone with something to gain. Or people who do it for money. Lieutenant Noack flicked his gaze towards Goose, who had walked over next to the Fae, leaning down to whisper. They looked up and stood to full height, looming over the rest of the guests. It wasn't hard to imagine this tower of a person picking poor Belle up. Too bad the best mystery she ever experienced was her own murder. Yeah, right? And shoving her into the furnace. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Merrick is in the military. Killing people for money isn't beyond him. Dear, there is a hitman right there. There was no bounty on this lady, trust me. Vance rose to her feet, pointing an accusing finger at the rest of them. I've had it! One of you did this! Vance dissolved into tears. Shouldn't we call the police? Harold pinched the bridge of his nose. They can't get in until sunrise. The house is still sealed. Can't you just unseal it? Not this one. I'm much better at sealing things up than letting them out. I think your ritual did this to her. That's not how it works. Geez, lady, you think Harry here can spontaneously combust people from 2 rooms away? If you had that kind of ability, you sure as lightning wouldn't be getting treated with this much disrespect. Settle down, Holly. She's just upset. It's normal to be irrational. Irrational? How dare you? As sketchy as he is in his personal life, jumping to conclusions doesn't help anyone. There's something else going on here. Of course you feel safe. You've got all the strong men wrapped around your finger. It's like, not helping, Harold. Excuse me? Not a man. Yes, we're all very aware that one of them's your husband, and you've been flirting with the other all night. Maybe if we can question you all and check for evidence, then we can figure this out. I don't want to be locked in here with a murderer. Have no fear, little miss. I'm more than happy to stand guard until morning for you. Look who's flirting now! And next to a dead body. And I'm appalled by that accusation. Protecting a lady isn't flirting. It's just the right thing to do. And parties are supposed to have flirting. Parties and flirting are hand in glove. Thank you for the follow, Domo, welcome. If anything is appropriate here, it's the murder. Maybe we should be in separate rooms. Not that I'm worried. I could fight off any one of you. It's like, shush, all of you! None of you are helping! None of you! Zero! Zilch! Nada. Really helping your case over there. Please give us some space to examine the body. Don't touch her! I don't think we can without the whole thing crumbling into a pile of ashes. Faraday knew before the words even left his mouth that it was precisely the wrong thing to say. The mighty Saab Vance pushed past the rest of the group and rushed up the stairs. Harold decided to take control of the situation. Listen up. We will all stay right here in this room. I will go and get Miss Vance, and then we will wait in here until morning. Not a soul touches the crime scene. There is likely only one killer, and against all of us, surely logic and a communal thirst for justice will win out. It's like, yes, why'd you do Cosmic? Alright, yeah, no. I'm leaving myself in a room by myself until morning. I'm seriously gonna lose it if I have to spend one more minute in this smell. Or in this company. The victim insulted your Doritos bag collection. Oh no. She left. Quickly followed by a protesting Noack. Harold's second attempt to keep the guests together was equally successful as the first. Soon only he and Faraday remained. Perhaps they have the right idea. Let's see if this house has a wine cellar. I'm not gonna get paid tonight. So let's use this opportunity to be astonishingly expensive drunks. Harry, it's up to us to figure this out. You saw that. We can't trust any of them. Only you and I were in the parlor when the murder happened. Any of the rest of them could have done it. Holly, I am running on empty. I cannot emotionally handle it anymore. So if you want to keep me going, I need a good reason. Any reason, so long as it's good. Faraday glared at him. Belle was a good person. Even when the other guests were awful to you, she was always nice. She didn't hire you for a parlor trick. She trusted you with the memory of her friend. She might be the only person left in the city who actually respected you. It's like, Faraday, you were not a detective. Well, we are now. I'll stretch. Are you gonna hide like a big baby? Because you don't want to get your feelings hurt? Or you act like the decent man I know is still in there somewhere? Alright, rest well, Bucky. Thanks for stopping by. For Belle. There we go. I knew you weren't a complete piece of garbage. Just mostly. That's a significant percentage. The pair approached the furnace solemnly and crouched down to look carefully at what clues they could find. Alright, there's a lot to examine here, I say. Let's check the body. Faraday stood back as Harold inspected the body. Are we sure that's Belle? Maybe. It's a different body? Or a fake or something? Decency forbids I give any details. But I can confirm that this corpse is, without question, Miss Bernadette Belle. Decency? This is a murder investigation. You already slept? Well, that's good. Yeah, tuck him in. You never really look. Harold glared at Faraday. Would you care to do the honors? Faraday stepped forward, but the lingering spell of burning hair was too much for him. I can't. It'd be better emotionally if she'd been charred beyond recognition, but yes, I could still tell it's her. Blow my nose real quick. There we go. He went pale and finally turned away from the grisly sight. You understand? Our combined skill set is not the same as an investigator or a consulting detective. We can still observe and deduce, but we'll have to do so without the post-mortem. Can we at least move her out of there? We can't. She would... Harold felt his shoulders tense and his guts seized up. He clenched his teeth and waited for the anger to abate. Then he continued. We cannot move her. She would fall apart if we attempted to. Faraday gave the ground a helpless kick. All we could do is keep the furnace off. Like, look at these fools touching evidence. Did they even have fingerprinting? Nah, I don't know. This is like Victorian era. We've heard us off and hope that the authorities can find something we can't. You know, this is the same way Canterbury died. There's no way this isn't related. It's highly suspicious. but it could merely be a coincidence. Faraday raised his eyebrows at Harold. Or maybe it is somewhat likely that the two friends who both worked at the same place and were killed in the same manner have the same killer. Wow, brilliant. What a bold claim. You really aren't a detective, are you? Harold walked off to examine something else. What's this? A lump of metal here. I think I know what it is. You remember the key in her sleeve? The one for her office. Yes, when I look closely, I think I can see a little of the shape left. There's more than just fingering. Yeah, that's why they're like trying not to move the body itself, you know? It's like, let's not do that. Early, but it's enough to tell for certain that it's her office key. We're done here, we should check her office. Alright. Small piece of fabric, but it doesn't match anything Belle was wearing. I guess if we can find where it came from, we might know more. Is that a pile of soot? Why is it so far away from the furnace? Harold knelt down to get a closer look, reaching out to touch it. Ow! He recoiled, fingers stinging. Was it sharp? Harry, are you listening to me? See, I can't stop working even if I'm dead. Maybe not notebook, I feel like I have to write. Right now. Faraday handed him the notebook and Harold immediately says a scribbling. What are you doing? Harold's right hand continued to write, but his left jerked the book out of his hand. He put a hand to his temple. Oh, thank you for that. He shook his hand, clearing it out. Are you alright? Yes, I'm fine. Was that a stray imp? Like, is that her imp's ashes? I think the spiky thing might be an imp. Half right. I believe that was Belle's imp. Yep, this is her imp, the little spiky thing. I should have recognized it. Creative imps usually do have a spike or spines of some kind. They push their users to keep working. Different people are motivated by different things. Some people write out of a fierce desire to change the world, some draft out of spite, which always ends up poisoning the user, but it looks like Belle's sense of self-worth was tied to her writing. An imp with this many spines was likely stinging her constantly, encouraging her to write. Something like that would be pretty useful for getting research papers done. It really isn't the worst sort of imp to have. Yeah, you show schma. But just like any imp, if it got bigger, he let the pause linger, and Faraday swallowed. Did they write down the imp? This page? No, whatever. I'll go get it then. We'll seal it back at home. Put it with all the other strays. Faraday tried to locate it, but it was already gone. Oh, it got away. Well, it's someone else's headache now. Is this the dinner cart? Why would it be down here? Something is different about it. It doesn't have food on it. Already looks better when it has food on it. You'd think I'd look better if I wore a fruit hat? What? Nothing. Just a thought. It's like, but you're already fruity. Fruit Loops. I think that's everything of relevance. Yeah, I can't find anything else either. Let's lay out what makes sense. It would make the most sense if the murderer knew the layout of the house, because they would need to know about the boiler room. It's hard to tell who might have been here for sure. Yeah, gay thoughts. Or who might have arrived early or snuck away to get a good look at the house. Looking at this fabric again, they held up this small piece of burned ivory-colored fabric. I feel like I recognize it. You should. We saw it at dinner. It was the cloth that was on the dinner cart. I remember because I thought it was tastefully in season. There had been a movement towards more plant decoration lately. Very in vogue. What's not in vogue is the snot that's building up in my nose. One second. Okay. What's that even mean? Doesn't matter. What does matter is the cloth burning up, which means someone chose to burn it. Why would they do that? I would have to assume the person who burned it also burned Belle. So it might have had evidence on it. Makes sense. Well, let's get moving. We won't solve anything sitting around here. Faraday held up the notebook and gave it a little wiggle. I'll start a to-do list. Oh, there's an eyebrow. It's blank. Well, I don't know what we're doing until we ask around first. Why doesn't asking around count as something to do? If I have to be awake to do it, it counts as doing something. Why complaining a bigger room? Well, the last time we saw the cart was in the dining room. When they reached the dining room, there was a figure sitting on the windowsill, curled up and still in the moonlight. Oh, I see. The figure was poring over a thick sheaf of papers. What a difference that makes. Hello? Oh! The figure scooped up the papers, shoving them under a decorative pillow, which did very little to hide them. Oh, it was Mayers. For some reason, I thought it was Lupine. Hello? What are you both doing here? We only wanted a moment of your time. It's like, what'd you miss? A lot. Belle's dead. She was burned in a furnace. Where were you when Belle was murdered? I was in here. I really love the decorations. Belle puts a lot of things from her own house into the story as Duchess Baker's style and taste. It's like, yeah, no, you stepped away at the worst time, but hey, that's what the VOD's for, so no worries. I'm trying to absorb inspiration. Didn't Belle say it was the parlor that was styled like Duchess Baker's room? Oh, ho, 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 ho. Everything you say is part of my method. Like, okay. She likes to do her little role plays. Please, stay safe while you investigate. I'll stay here. She left it unspoken that she would stay in the dining room, where she assumed it was much safer. Alright, parlor? As they reached the parlor, they found Lieutenant Nowak in an armchair, tapping his foot in idle irritation. We have a few questions. Oh, this'll be rich. Where were you when you in the murder? I don't have to cooperate with you. You're both, frankly, beneath me. What the hell am I going to get out of answering questions for you? The warm, fuzzy feeling of human decency for solving an innocent person's murder? Pass. I get lost, both of you. And Noak said the quiet part out loud. Yeah, right? Eyes open once more in Noak's chest. Well, the game's always killing off your favorites. Yeah, unfortunately, your favorite got killed. Very tragic. It's like, sorry to hear. At the sound of his order, Faraday's legs gave another unwieldy twist. With shuddering contoured steps, both he and Harold stumbled out of the door. Harold was on the ground in a heap. Second favorite, but still. Oh, right. I think you said Deleuze was your favorite. How unpleasant. But as we both know where we are, it seems as Imp doesn't force us to take his words literally. So if that's how it works, I don't care how it works. I'm gonna kick his teeth in. We cannot kick any teeth anywhere until we learn how his imp works. More importantly, the investigation goes nowhere until we question him. Fine, let me think. I said to be found on authoritarian imps. People conscious of the control others exhibit through the social gaze. Yes, people's imps manifest eyes to watch and judge them. But Noah doesn't seem to care at all what anyone else thinks of him. Maybe it's a repressed fear? So you're wrong and Noah is just too obvious. Nah, I don't think it's him. I don't think it's him at all. You're projecting that, I think. Smart ass. But seriously, if he were scared of how others perceived him, he'd keep his imp hidden. But he wears his like a literal badge of armor. Faraday, you're a genius! Wow, been a long time since you called me that. I've seen an imp like this before. Yeah, there's usually at least one red herring character who's such an asshole you're like, there's no way he is it. It's very common among police officers. When one is intimidated by the officer using it, then they are compelled to follow the officer's orders. So all I have to do is not be scared. I can't help it. I'm trying to stand up to him, but he unnerves me. What are we gonna do? Switch cases. We need to turn our thinking around. We've been trying to solve the mystery of Belle and Canterbury's murders. We could have returned to the mystery of the missing wine cellar. Oh no! Don't worry, Holly. It's not so bad to give up. In fact, the more you do it, the easier it gets. With a little practice, you can give up on everything at all for days at a time. Oh, I just had an idea, but you're not gonna like it. And why would you even say it? We're at a disadvantage if everyone else is using their imps, and we're not using ours. Yes, but I hardly see how you're taking off your glasses supposed to... No. If you were to just unseal yours temporarily, I think we'd have our Noah problem solved. Oh yes, one problem solved and one even bigger issue left behind. I'm not thrilled about this either, but this is for Belle, isn't it? Plus she might punch that guy's lights out, which I would find super gratifying to watch. Look, you won't be losing social standing with this dude. He already hates your guts. He might even respect you more after she punches him. Extremely unlikely. There's a point, though. Being drunk moves inhibitions. Yeah, no fear. You can never be sure with guys like that. You know, this is me. Can you handle this? That already sucks. I'll survive. So please, Ollie groaned and put a hand up to his mouth, looking vaguely ill. Please, I want to see her. Waves of repulsion rippled through Harold's abdomen, and he doubled over. Nausea gripped him, and he fought to swallow back all the saliva suddenly filling his mouth. But as he just said, giving up was easier the more practice one got, and in the sheer effort of lack of will, Harold gave up. Stomach lurching, Harold vomited himself inside out. And that was not a metaphor. Whoa, what's he doing? Hello? Soon there was a big mess lying on the ground, but it was not roast turkey and soup. It was a figure. And though she was not human, she had been around too long and grown from too many of Harold's repressed feelings. Don't worry, I'm sure she'll be fine. The public considered imps to be something they could control. An imp would not talk back. The public would not refer to her as an imp. To them, she was a demon. Oh. But the two gentlemen called her Maggie. Meg hopped to her feet, squealing with glee. Holly, you asked for me? I knew it! I knew you would want to see me eventually! She opened her arms wide and her eye vein pulsed with joy. Here I am, just for you! Yay! I knew you were having a bad night, and I'm going to protect you! You know how badly I've wanted to throw my arms around you? Let me wrap you up. I'll never ever have to let go, and nobody could ever hurt you, not never ever again. No thanks. Like, hear me out. Let's just question Noah and get this over with, okay? Faraday stepped toward the door. Maggie jumped in front of a wagging finger. You know what I want from you first. Maggie bared her sharp teeth. Faraday shrugged away from her, but he wasn't fast enough. First, I want to see your notebook. I love looking at it. She snatched it up from his hands and scribbled in it, giggling to herself. It's so long since he let me hold it. I was like, what did she do? Aw, she wrote little things on it. Kisses for your cheeks. Huggable. Aw. I'm sad because I'm Garbo. Jerk. Ollie, you're so smart. We should... Aw. She's so mean. Yeah, gay question mark? Harry and I read through it all the time when you were gone. There. She handed it back to him. Faraday looked slightly shell-shocked. You're not going to. Oh, are you disappointed? Maybe thought you'd get a big ol' smooch out of the evening. No, I remember what you told me. Maggie, I don't like when you hold me tight like that. Maggie, your spit is literally acid. Don't kiss me. We can keep taking it slow. No worries. Why'd she have a slug in her eye? Because she's a demon. PDA is off limits at a murder scene. This is an absolute rule. Unless you really want to blow off the investigation. Just get drunk and canoodle in the wine cellar. Very romantic. Oh, Maggie, you're always so much, but Harry really looked at it all the time? Of course! Things got so much worse when you left. He kept stuffing more and more and more of himself in me, because we're a disgusting, awful person. I tried to be good and let him have me removed, but I just hate being so gross. He really made our body look so much better, and I like using that one instead of this thing. Because I'm disgusting and inconvenient if I would just go away forever. We could be a normal person again and people would like us. Even if you left, I always believed you still cared. I thought about you so much more than Harry did. More with each passing day. I looked at your journal every day. You have to know that, Holly. I can even smell it. The suffix of trace of you is still left in the pages.
Please, can we question Noack now? Maggie's demeanor was wild and full of pent-up drive, but Holly's unenthusiastic response evaporated all of her excitement in short order. Is it okay if it's with Maggie? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Domo Doom Guy, welcome. I usually stay up, Doom Guy, on Saturdays. Leave me alone. You go to bed.
Fine.
Yeah, tuck him in. Maggie walked over to the door and gave the side of her head a casual smack with the heel of her palm. She muttered to herself. I'm not cringy. Harold Edwin Ludikill. You're cringy. Yeah, she's a demon. Yeah, you've been tucked. Discussion over. Exactly. But welcome. Maggie opened the door to the parlor and Holly followed her in, giving her a generous amount of space. Noack recoiled as he saw her. Oh, that's the thing from the ambassador's ball. He turned to Faraday. Did Ludikill decide he hadn't had enough ruin? Or...
Hey! I'm not here to explain myself. I'm not even really here to solve that murder. But I heard you're bullying my Holly.
Hey. Quit hiding, Ludikill. Only a coward hides behind this imp. And this is one you really should have kept locked up. An ugly imp is the sign of an ugly soul. That isn't even remotely how it works. Alright, rest well, Doom. Demon fart you're fine with. Yeah, of course. Pot calling the kettle black. Yeah, right? Just for the record. Maggie was positively glowing.
Holly, you stood up for me!
I wasn't standing up for you, I was standing up for Harry.
Same diff. Anyway.
She turned back to Noack.
You think I'm ugly? That's nothing compared to what your face will look like if you don't start apologizing to my Holly. Now.
She sucked in her cheeks and spat a wad of bright green something on the floor. The carpet sizzled just for a moment, but long enough to burn a coin-sized hole into it. Noah tried to employ his imp, the eyes flashing. Get away from me, freak! Faraday took an unwilling step back. Maggie threw her head and laughed, straddling forward and staring him dead in the eye.
Aw, you want me to boo-hoo and cower? You want me to nod like a good little boy? Part of me is stuffed in the broom cupboard like the silly nerd he is.
With her free hand, she dug her knuckles into her temple.
Hey, he'll shut up and let me do my job. If he doesn't want me to come out later and snap his fountain pen collection in half.
What's the rider Harley? Yeah, right. Good lord. Turn her attention back toward Noack.
Speaking of the increasing odds of snapping things in half, say sorry to Harley. Say he's perfect just the way he is.
Maggie, you're taking it too far. It's not even about me, I just want him to...
Shush, Harley. We need to hear him.
Noack licked his arm, intending to backhand Maggie, but she caught his blow before it could reach her cheek. Ooh, the lad wants the ball now, does he? Noack tried his best to struggle free from her grip and kicked at her. Her grip was tight as steel. Unfortunately, his boot toes were tipped with steel, too. It dug into her side and she dropped to her knees. Noack loomed over her. Faraday let out a cry of outrage, but Noack turned his imp's gaze back towards him. Don't move and shut up! Faraday's feet froze in place and he ground his teeth together. Is Maggie crazy for Faraday because being gay is a sin? I have no idea. Who the hell knows at this point? Noack grabbed Maggie by the hair and lifted her up. Well, I suppose the case is now closed, isn't it? She did mention something about repressed feelings and stuff, so she could be a representation of that. Who knows? Ludikill's demon ran amok and started killing people. Lucky for all involved, Lieutenant Noack was there to put it down. Maggie's scalp was in a fair amount of pain, but both of her hands were free. She took aim, pulled back a curled fist, and punched Noack in the shoulder. Maggie did not have steel-tipped fingers, but there was traditionally a reason why humans fear demons. When her blow made contact with Noack's shoulder, something popped. He howled in pain. They both fell to the floor, and Noack laid crumpled, clutching his arm.
I think she might have fucking shattered it. Yeah, right. Remember your pet's feelings being mentioned. Yeah, no, she seems to be a representation of that. Or at least he made a deal with an imp that absorbed it. Because imps feed off negative feelings. So since he has a lot of negative feelings, she's very powerful. Maggie stood up and brushed herself off, muttering to herself. Yeah, you're right, Harry. It would have been way easier just to apologize in the first place. Well, not half as fun. You okay, Holly? Faraday's joints loosened and he nodded. She looked at Noah. Now, you be nice to him and answer his questions. If you're nice, I'll pop that shoulder back into the socket for you. Ugh, fine. Is depression a superpower? I guess so. Understand this world is a demon that feeds off negativity, but when you make a deal with them, they become the imp? Something like that. Like, there's a whole notebook. Maggie lined up her hands along Noah's shoulder and muttered, "This game is free!" we spent a lot more time studying demon anatomy than human anatomy. That's all the same, right? What? She popped the bone back into the socket. Noah did his very best not to cry. Maggie gave him a friendly clap on the shoulder, probably to slow getting it again. He entered one. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So I stood up for you. Does that mean I have earned your begrudging but earnestly felt respect? And why did I just get a pop-up? Windows? Noah looked up at her and, without letting go of his injured shoulder, used his hand to make a rather obscene gesture. Yeah, it was a long shot anyway. Noah muttered and he pulled himself back to his feet. She turned on Faraday with an excited grin. How about you? You respect me more now, right, Harley? Yes? I'm so happy. I'll meet up wherever you want me to, okay? You just call my name and I'll come running. Be back in a moment to question you, Noah. Maggie practically skipped out of the room, aglow with excitement. Harley, you took me out to a nice dinner. I even got to protect your honor. Verdi followed her out, exasperated. You assaulted a guy that might go after us later. Potato. Grade to 11? I think this is already an 11. But, yeah, still, stinky. Look, it's not exactly my ideal day, but why quibble? Nice to have someone who's willing to be seen with me. She closed her eye and pursed her lips. You can kiss me goodnight. Come on, you're head over heels for me. I know you wanna. She didn't open her eye or change her posture, but she did give an impatient little hop. Sweep me off my feet, you soft, handsome devil. He couldn't look at her. I told you before, I have feelings for someone else. Between a demon and imp confuses me. I think they're technically the same thing. But that's not... She muttered to herself. I'm just as much as Harold is. Maggie frowned, wilting. I'll get changed into something more comfortable, shall I? She started to walk away. Maggie, She cut him off. Don't worry, cutie. I'm just heading down the hall for a minute. Demon appeared to be species. Imp is a demon that's bonded with the human system. Like, there's a whole last page. Notes. Yeah, demon aren't just the big monsters that lurk in the woods. Humans contributed to negative emotions. There's like a whole page here. You could look at it, absorb it. And they said rebranding the demons. So I think imps are rebranded demons. He likes watching someone throw up. Harold walked back down the hallway, wiping his mouth on the sleeve. Tastes like a niece and resentment. 100 apologies for her behavior. After all this, if you want to talk, she's a bit much for me, but you, as I've said before, just ignore anything she says. It's not a good idea to dwell on it. He put his hand on his temple and rubbed at it, muttered something to himself, before turning his attention back to the doorway. Shall we? Demons can either be sealed outside or rebranded. Yeah, I think that's the thing about Harold, is that he was the one that came up with the concept. And in the process, Maggie was born. And Faraday grounded his teeth. Stubborn. And then followed Harold. They returned to the parlor, feeling much more optimistic about their chances of getting some answers. No worries. So anyway, where were you? No, I think you're ready to tell us where you were when Belle was murdered. Murdered? I was with Dia in the hallway. She said she heard someone moving around upstairs. Didn't she tell you that? No, she didn't, because I don't think we questioned her yet. Noah gave a deep, fatigued sigh. Dea, yeah. She's trying to frame me. Very aspirational to have a marriage where your wife wants you to get framed for murder. Suspicious? Sure, I saw Clarice run past us to get up the stairs. Seems suspicious to me that she'd be in such a hurry. Okay. And stay out. Bathroom? Though the door was open, the bathroom was occupied by a large occupant. It was a tight fit, all three of them standing inside. Hey, are you alright? Yeah, it's nothing. Trying to figure out what happened? As a matter of fact, where were you? I was in here. The whole time? Yes. Goose's hat flipped even further over their eyes. They look clammy. Whoops. I feel sick. That does seem believable. It's like, the character design here is very girl genius coded. Well, it is watercolor hand-painted stuff, you know. It's, really cramped in here. Please leave. Let's see... Kitchen? When they reached the kitchen, Vance was there sitting with a stool and a small notebook. Her hands were fiercely trembling, but she seemed to be forcing herself to write. Gentlemen? She did not look up until she had finished her sentence. I must ask you to leave. I will not casually chat with Belle's killer. Madam, we are all under suspicion. I still believe that we have more to gain by working together. Like, do we have to talk in the bathroom? Yes. Oh, Double, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, by all means, go eat. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by to say hello. Yeah, tuck 'em in. I decline. If you won't answer our questions, I'll just assume you did it. Very well. Ask your questions and then be gone. Where were you? Anne stood up from the stool she had been sitting on, hunched over a small notebook with a black fountain pen. I was looking for her up in her office, but she wasn't there. I started to look around the other parts of the house. And then I finally saw her. In the boiler room. Anne turned away and shook a bit. My composure failed. I admit that I screamed when I saw her. Yeah, thank you, Hi. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Vance is nice. After that, I came in here. I felt safer with the kitchen imps to protect me. The imps? They're plenty strong, so don't get any funny ideas. I just need to wait for morning, and this long nightmare will be over. Motive? All of them! You saw that she'd received that threat? One of the humans is a hitman that barely shows their face. They're clearly hiding something. I feel like that alone is more than enough evidence for the police. Though, if you want my opinion, Goose is clearly a red herring. You mean you think that Goose is a ruse? Yes, a ruse goose. You presume it'll be a wild goose chase. Because they are not the only killer here tonight. Shot Harold a particularly venomous look. Feeling guilty? You should be. Everything went wrong as soon as you started trying to summon that ghost. I know you're upset, but Harry didn't do anything wrong. He clearly did. You saw it yourself. The lights went out, and then she was robbed and murdered. And I have heard the rumors about you, Ludikill. Everyone has been tiptoeing around the subject, but I really don't understand. How is a man with a demon allowed to roam freely, the same as any good, respectable citizen? I keep it to myself. You know, rumors of what she what my demon did has been incredibly embellished in the retelling. Huh! I suppose you must have used the last of your good connections, and I'll trust the word of my associates, thank you, and not the word of a, wash-up like you. Oof. I'm sorry. Harry, quit apologizing for waves you didn't make. Vance looked back down at her notebook. Ugh. I'll wait with you. Music? They found Deleuze in a music room. At the north wall was a massive pipe organ. Go away! I'm looking for snacks. I ain't here. Do you think you're in... I know where I am! I'm in a room with a massive pipe organ. I got a better look around than either of you did. Bet you didn't even know there was a music room here. Let alone a massive pipe organ. No, I suppose not. Just answer a few questions for us, please. Where were you? This lady wouldn't last a minute in Xbox Live. Yeah, she'd be like, language! Seems like you could solve this easily just summoning her ghost and asking her. Actually, funny story about that. So this whole seance thing was a heavy load. You have to give it to him. It sounded pretty convincing. I can't wait to tell people you're a total fraud. Harold balked and prepared to apologize. Faraday cut him off. Didn't your very rich father die under very questionable circumstances? And you design and sell so many ships now. That seemed kind of lucky for you. Maybe Harry decides for his next trip, he's gonna summon the ghost of your father to talk about who might have killed him. I got mixed up for a second. This threat was barely veiled, but instead of getting upset, it seemed to excite Deleuze. Oh, but you already said he can't summon ghosts. Why would people believe this lie over mine? Harold noted her reaction and smirked. Doesn't matter, if there's even a whiff of scandal, somebody's going to come looking for it. Maybe I'd be left out of society again, but the press would learn your dirty little secret. I'll take you down with me, Deleuze. Deleuze laughed, chipper. Ha! Point taken. It seems like I can't win against a very legitimate seance doer. Anyway, I was upstairs when the murder took place. Oh, by myself. Very convincing. Why don't you tell the truth? All by myself. She lied as naturally as she breathed. How'd you get in there? I don't think this door was open while we were sealing the manor. There's no windows or exits. Locks aren't usually a problem for me. That makes you very suspicious in my book. Look, Belle was promising to put my ship design into her next book. It was even going to be the setting for the whole story. I had the opposite of a motive. But it would have been a story about a murder. Who would want to buy a boat that had a murder on it? Fictional murders are classy and fun. People aren't usually bothered about the context, just hearing the name would get them interested. Exactly! Glad you're catching on, Ludikill. I would have had a design featured heavily in the mystery. I would have sold even more than I already do. People look up for tours. Her being dead is bad for business. Simple as that. And you know, she was kinda a nice person. If you suspect anyone, look at my human barnacle Merrick. He always likes to screw things up for people. And if it's me who's involved, even more so. It's like, are maritime murders the fault of the shipmakers? Maybe. Screw things up. Yeah, I sabotaged business deals of mine before. This project with Belle would have meant maybe been getting international attention. He'd be furious if I got more opportunities. I'm already out of his league and he's only getting further behind. So it's not a shock that he would cheat to try to catch up. You think he'll really take it this far? Absolutely. I won't lie and say that I would be disappointed to hear it was his doing. You see anything sus? I did hear something when the lights went out. A lot of people were moving when they started panicking, but Goose moved over and opened the case. I could hear the whole thing. You sure about that? Goose was standing next to Myers and me during the seance. I heard Myers say that someone let go of her hand, and I could tell Goose let go of my hand. I know that because I am me. So, Goose was on the loose. And someone with a heavy step ran over to the back room, and the cabinet door opened. Goose has a really heavy step. Big folks like that usually do. Merrick has a heavy step, too. He's got those awful metal custom shoes, so he sounds different when he walks. Deleuze shrugged. You could hear that even with all the commotion the others were making?
If there's shenanigans going on, you couldn't tear me away. Now I return to my important business.
Louis turned away from them.
Still haven't found those snacks.
It's because Faraday was asking who would want to buy a ship that had murder on it. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, murders happen everywhere, anywhere. Yeah, no, the Luce is fun. She's Shelly. Did you come back to look at the flowers? It really is comforting here. What were you doing on the stairs? The stairs? Yeah, Merrick said he saw you running on the stairs. Is he sure? Well, I'm sure that this is gonna put your stage show even more in the spotlight. You really want to travel and get famous that badly? Of course not. At that moment, Clarice could no longer hold back and burst into tears. I'm sorry. I didn't think anyone would even know. Please cried into her hands. I was on the stairs because I took the manuscript from the first story out of the Belle's office. She probably had it out to write the play adaptation. But that would require a key. I'm like, Clarice, you're being very sus right now. I don't like it. I just really, really want to see it. I just thought I could just run down here and look through it without anyone seeing me, and then run back up and put it back. Belle's office door was open. I stuck in there after an imp left. I thought it was a cleaning imp, but the place was a mess. When I heard that scream, I shut the door behind me, hid the manuscript, and then went to find out what happened. I was gonna put it back. It's been right here, safe and sound. Why would you do that? It sounds stupid and embarrassing, but I'm just a big fan of who completely overstepped my boundaries. I'm so ashamed. Grace's eyes welled up again. She sniffled loudly. I can't even apologize to Miss Belle for it. Where's the manuscript? On the windowsill, right over there. Grace retrieved the stack of papers, still wiping away a few tears with her free hand. I really wasn't here after that, I promise. I understand if you don't believe me after what I did, but I really hope you find out who did this. Miss Belle was such an amazing writer and a kind person. It's also a good actor, so her tears could be fake. True. Grace looked at her feet and held the stack of paper out to Faraday. You should take this. I'm sick just thinking about it. If you summon Miss Belle's ghost, please tell her I say I'm sorry. I'll do that. Harold and Faraday left the room, feeling, not for the first time that night, deeply awkward. She seemed genuinely upset. I don't believe her. I want to believe no one killed Belle, but we have to be skeptical. For example, look at this manuscript. It's the first constant Little Bear story. And as really neat as it is to be holding it for real, I could swear Belle said she wrote it in blue ink. This is black ink. People lie all the time, and for the weirdest reasons. Sometimes it's just really hard to tell what to believe. Indeed, it seems like everyone here has something they're hiding. But so do I. I can't judge. Check her office. When Faraday attempted to open the door to Belle's office, it wouldn't budge. Damn, she locked it. Well, we did find a key with Belle's body, but it was melted. We need to find another way in. Okay, music room? Wow, welcome back! Gosh, how long it's been. I remember her saying she could pick locks. It's been like minutes. Couldn't you say... Day not here? It was so nice when you weren't here. We need your help. Everyone seems so. Or seems to. Seems to, I can't read. Please? Well, I guess I don't have a lot to do at the moment. You two are too chumpy to have committed any murders. Thank you. Just don't get your demon out or whatever. I heard it melted a guy's wife's hand off. In a jar of acid. Trying to do something with a melted key. Yeah, no, we can't. At a party. That's a new one. You said you could break locks? My imp won't let me get locked in any place, so technically, sure. If If I could frame it right. Daya's imp looked like a large metal key. It scampered free of her pocket, tears rolling down its handle. It pushed firmly against the door, and despite its small size, the door pushed smoothly open. The imp muttered through tears as it pushed.
Let me out! Let me out!
You okay?
Why would I be? It just does that.
They said imps are weird. What they say doesn't mean anything. Thank you, Mr. Luce.
That's all you need? Then I'm off. Next are going.
Harold and Faraday entered the office and saw what clearly constituted a murder scene. Oh. Yeah, there's like pages and stuff everywhere. It's like, this is both cool and disturbing. Yeah, right? Second. Okay. Like the expressive, quirky ones. Understandable. Scorch marks on the carpet, a mess of papers that were not scattered on their previous visit. There were several cabinets that were open, and the mess made it difficult to know where to look first.
Shit, this place is a mess.
There's no real way of knowing what objects could be relevant, unless... You should have a look around. Why me? My sight's better than Deluse's, but not by much. No. Use, you know. I don't want to do that here. You said I had to do this for Belle, so Holly, can't you do this? At least to solve her murder? Fine, stand back, or go in the hallway or something. Sure. Has whoever killed Belle put the key on her to dispose of it? Probably. Faraday took a deep breath and took off his glasses. Hi, Taffy. If you climbed on that and fell backwards, it just broke your head open. Belle's script of play, it burned up with her, almost none of it's left. It's not salvageable. This is part of the script too, hours and hours all ashes. I wonder if it'll never get made because of this. What'll happen if it's gone forever? It's pulled open and something's missing. Something that belongs here is gone. I won't be able to find it if it's not in this room. What if that's the whole reason she was murdered? Almost nothing left on top except for a few pens and blue ink stains. Next person who owns this desk even know who Belle was? Imagine just running at the glass and trying to jump out. Harry's seal would push me back. He would save me without even knowing. There's a burn mark on the ground and one on the ceiling. She died right here and nobody heard it. Did she just combust? Should I just burn up like that? Could I just burn up like that? Could Harry? What if the killer comes after us next? Another page of the script. What a waste. Death is so senseless. People are gone so fast.
Piece of shit.
How many times have you run away? You could have done something with your life. You're the most pathetic loser. You have no impact. Might as well have never existed. Belle wrote thousands of words more than you ever will. And now she's dead and her work will outlive her. What work have you done? You don't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing you ever do will be worth anything to anyone. At least Terry has done something. You're too broken to finish a single thing. He's too good for you. When you die, not a single person will care or remember. Tried to keep looking, but the room felt bigger and bigger every second, like it was going to swallow him. Everything inside it felt incomprehensible and impenetrable. His whole life felt like something he wished he could forget. His failures, his unfinished work, they all felt like 1,000 pounds manifesting themselves in his chest. He stared at the room and in every single object. Saw the terribleness of a cold, uncaring world that would burn or fade or rot. It reminded him of how he didn't deserve to be here. Or anywhere. He was worthless. He lost control of his breathing and the world felt like a stage he wasn't even on. His heart raced and his face contorted into pain, gasping sobs. He couldn't make words. He struggled to stay standing or catch his breath. Holly! I'm coming back in! Harold moved close, wanting desperately to make it stop to put his arms around his shaking friend. You know, his arms ached to hold them, hoping that protective feeling would reach him, but he waited for permission. Faraday's voice was just a series of gasping sounds, but between them he managed to strangled word. Oh. Okay. Aww. He gave him a hug. Harry pulled him into a hug and Faraday burst into tears. He moaned and tried to catch his breath between wordless, pained utterances. I'm sorry. I'm right here, Holly. Harry's arms were tight around him, the pressure familiar. Holly wanted to sink deeper into the grip, to fall back through the years to when this embrace had been his on a whim. Yeah, hug your homies. Even now, Holly could feel an awkward curl in Harry's fingertips. Once so comfortable with his body now didn't quite know what to do. What'd you find out? Faraday choked back a bitter laugh. Right back to work, huh? Sorry, this isn't exactly the thing I do regularly. Right. Hopefully I have something important. You're really awful at comforting, you know? Sorry. No, let's just stay here for a minute. That's enough. He almost felt Harry pull away, but with a sudden fierce affection, he wrapped his arms wrapped tighter. There was a lot he wanted to say, but he bit back every single one of those words. And Taffy has the zoomies. After a couple minutes, Holly found it easier to breathe, and they got back to work. The murder took place here. That burn mark, that's where she died. It wasn't in the boiler room, and whoever did it also burned up the entire final draft of her play. I'll get that written down. So, Faraday grit his teeth, then managed a cocky grin. Where to next? We've said everything we needed to say to Duluth, so let's head back to the hall. Kitchen? When he returned to the kitchen, Vance barely looked up from her writing. Come to bother me again, I see. Why would someone burn her script? What a horrible thing to do. I had no idea it was burned. She'd been working on it tirelessly. Well, it's almost completely gone. I doubt anyone can use it. I'm sorry. At least her legacy can continue, even if all her notes are gone, and I have to go back to the originally published version. I'll make sure that the show goes on. After all, the creative voice behind the Constance Little Bear Mysteries has not entirely departed. As her editor, I can continue the stories for her. I came in here to start making notes right away. It felt like the only way I could respect what she's leaving behind. I'll let you get back to it then. Office? When they returned to the office... What are you doing in here? Snooping? You shouldn't. He gave up. May we ask you a few questions? By all means. Yeah, he's pretty sus. Like, he can light fire, so that makes him pretty sus too. Where were you? I was checking on Goose. They're usually really tough, so I was surprised they were sick. So you've met them before this? Yes, the cat is out of the bag on that. Such an adorable detective, aren't you? You leaned a bit closer to Faraday with a wink. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Faraday blushed and stammered. Yeah. So you know them. Why pretend not to? I'd rather come clean. I don't want to deal with getting a murder pinned on me. I'm a thief, not a murderer. I'm guessing here, but I feel like everyone we talk to is going to say they're not murderers. At least one of them's a liar. Yeah, it depends on the magic. That's Goose Den. They'll back me up. Say, I told you it's okay. How'd you find out about this party? We've been planning this for a while. We got floor plans, got her to run into Goose. Whenever she decided to let them in would have been all the chance we needed. Why come steal something when you can't get it out? That would have been exciting to deal with. But it wasn't something I planned for. This party just happened to be when she invited them. And I found a way to sneak myself in under the circumstances. I didn't know you would seal the place, though. There's no way to get out of here until morning. That was a bit of a hitch, but I'm sure I could have worked something else out. A challenge. It would have been fun. Do you like my trick with the lights? You really scared poor Clarice. Yeah, I did have a nameplate. No one got hurt. No one was supposed to get hurt, at least. I really don't know what went wrong. You see anything sus? I really didn't. I wasn't paying attention to anything but the prize. The prize being, I just love demon sharks. Hate to bring it to you, but there's no such thing as demon sharks. Don't tell Goose. He would break their heart. Think we're finished. Oh, I thought we could paw through Belle's notes and fill up on some fun stories. Come back if you change your mind. Bye for now, cuties. Well, we'll go talk to him now. Oh, I keep forgetting to close the door. Well, let's get this over with. Why'd you steal from the curio case? I didn't steal anything. The Lou said she heard you do it. She's wrong. Lupine says you can tell us the truth. Okay, if he says it's okay. Lupine and I are partners. We work together to steal imps that belong to other people and give them back to their owners. I did steal this. Goose reached under their hat and held out the sharp-pointed object. You seem like you're smart enough to know this isn't a demon shark tooth. Yeah, but we didn't know what it actually was. It's someone's imps, and they deserve it back. Maybe it's better if I take it and seal it up. No way. Goose pulled it away and put it back under his hat. Or their hat. You don't have the right to deprive someone of part of themselves. Maybe they got rid of it for a reason. No matter the reason, living with only part of yourself will always feel empty. Yeah, you know you have a fucking hole in your stomach. It's like, you would know! It's, really cramped in here. Please leave. Alright, parlor? Noak did not look pleased to see them returning. Motive. The Luce claims you had a reason to kill Belle. She says you were trying to sabotage her. Having a motive doesn't mean I did it. Doesn't make us get her. Don't make us get her to come back. Noak rubbed his shoulder. Ugh. Look. If Dea says I wasn't with her, then that means she has no alibi either. And she has a history with murder. I don't want to get her into any trouble. I say she was with me. It's on her for saying I wasn't. And hey, if Dea gets the rap for this, maybe she'll need me to speak at the trial. Wait, you know what? Uh-oh. Got a tickle in my throat. I'm okay. 1 second. Okay. I'm okay. I drink water. Cat got my tongue, you'd think. Taffy's been running around. He'll probably steal it later. I was completely alone. Let her come crawling back. I suppose the judge could strike testimony from the record. Well, this isn't a court case. You're just talking to two guys. Two guys who know that you and the Luce have an alibi. You're no fun. Yeah, I think we're done here. After everything we saw and heard, I'm pretty sure I know who killed Canterbury and Belle. I think I know too. Faraday nodded. Me too. Want to check your notes before making an accusation? Because now would be a good time to do that. Not checking them now, then I assure you I don't need to do it at all. No, I think I already figured it out. The culprit is... At first, I thought it might have been Clarice, but then I thought about it. When we talked to Vance again, she said something a little weird. She was like, I can't wait to write the scripts again, and I'm like, she mentioned being her editor and stuff. It's like, no one's too obvious. Lupine, no. It's either Clarice or Vance. They both said some very sussy things. Everyone else has an alibi of some kind. Or, like, a motive that doesn't fit. The only one I could see really benefiting is Vance, because she was, like, talking about being her editor and writing for her, so she could benefit from it, but then we've talked about how Clarice is an actress and she could have lied about things. So I'm torn between these two. That's the thing. I was like, I am leaning towards her a little bit, but I'm like, I did save, so if I'm wrong, I'll just go back and pick the other person. Faraday and Harold managed to get everyone together in the parlor. The killer is Clarice Mayers. She got caught snooping on the script and was so embarrassed in front of her idol. Oh, so you found me out. Clarice's face contorted and she gave her chilling villain laugh. Who but the Duchess herself, who committed such a nefarious plot. And petered out quickly with a very joyless frown. Honestly, I would never. I'm supposed to believe you when you put on that evil face. I just find strong characters comforting when I'm nervous. You see? You could never take down Duchess Baker. Mayers put on a brave face, and after that moment, refused to set aside her character. The others kept an eye on her until morning when the sun rose. The seal on the mansion broke. The police were summoned. They arrived promptly, and as she was led away, Clarice Myers had a few genuine tears on her cheek. Yeah, it's looking like I might have been wrong. Dr. Harold McKill was never paid for the evening's proceedings, and Holly Faraday never quite managed to shake the feeling that they had made a dreadful error on the judge. I was wrong. Okay, so it was Vance. Bad end. Yes, I would like to choose a different culprit. Thank you for offering, game. It was Vance then. I was so torn. I mean, it's pretty obviously. Harold put a finger to his lips and whispered, "Shush, wait a moment." He leaned in and quietly continued. I'm certain that we're on the same page, but let us proceed with caution. We can't tell where exactly the rented imps may be. We cannot allow them to suspect what we think it is. He mouthed the word. Vance. Holly nodded and said loudly, since all of you said it wasn't you, it must have been suicide. No murders in your case. Mystery solved as far as I'm concerned. He tilted his glasses down so that Harold could see his eyes and gave him a big wonk wonk. Harold did his best to act annoyed at this, instead of incredibly charmed. They headed toward the kitchen, but instead could hear movement toward the music room. When the two men arrived in the music room, they found Vance there, as well as Upine and Goose. Hold it right there! Upine gave him a cheeky grin. We are noisy tonight, aren't we? Faraday clenched his hands at the fist. Despicable! You were in cahoots with her the whole time? I guess there's no point in hiding it after all. Goose withdrew the demon shark tooth from underneath their hat and handed off to Vance. Wahahaha! The great thief has successfully finished another heist. You said you were a thief, not a murderer. Murderer? Umpide's eyes flitted with Faraday to Vance to the tooth in her hands. I see. Goose, we messed up big time. If I hadn't been so worried about your health, I would have noticed sooner. What's with all this racket? The Loose entered, quickly followed by Noack and Myers. Goose motioned towards Vance. She's... Faraday lost his patience. Yes, of course she's the killer. Myers took her head. No, that can't be true. Miss Vance and Miss Bell have been friends ever since Belle wrote her first Constance Little Bear mystery. Harold withdrew a sheath of papers. My apologies, madam, but not a single thing you just said is correct. Because Vance was not Belle's friend. And Burnett Bell did not write the first Constance Little Bear mystery. Because it was in black ink. I knew it. It's like when Vance got excited to rewrite the play, because the thing had been burned, she was like, oh, I'll just write it for her. She was like really excited to do it. That's her motive. She wants to write her story. Not Belle. What? What? When Belle gave Miss Myers her autograph, she signed in a blue ink. The same blue ink that she claimed to have used to write all of her stories. But the first draft is written in black ink with spidery handwriting that differs significantly from the rest of Belle's notes. The spider handwriting is not, however, not only to be found on this first draft, it can also be found. Faraday snatched a small notebook out of Vance's hands and held it open to show to assembled onlookers. And Vance's personal notebook! Not a word of it is true. This is just a distraction. He's throwing accusations around in order to confuse you all. None of you can trust such a vile man, nor his associate.
Hey! I could have sworn I heard you mention that you were the one who recommended Luda kill the Belle. I mean, Ludacill's not a guy I would invite to a party either. But if I was looking for someone shady to take the blame...
It's like, if you have to accuse each of them and then a secret option appears? No, we're right on the money. There is an achievement to accuse everyone, but we don't have time for that. Plenty of people would assume we did it. She invited me too. She said that Belle had stolen her imp and she needed our help getting it back. She was supposed to give Belle our calling card so that Belle would know we were stopping by. Why did she even need our help? Miss Vance, you could have strolled in and asked for your imp back at any time. Boss, it was a setup, or frame-up. I doubt it's much different from accusing Myers. Yeah, I think it plays out like almost exactly the same, except the person will be like, I didn't do it, and then bad end. Oh. She must have figured. If Ludikill didn't take the fall, there would be 2 more outlaws as backups. Me? I'm never someone's backup. I never play less than center stage. All that matters is she had plenty of Patsy shielding her from suspicion. So cruel. This is merely conjecture, nothing more. How on earth could I have killed Belle? As you've so callously established. She gestured to a hole in her neck. I have no imp of my own. Oh my god, you're right. She has a hole in her neck. How did I not notice I thought that was an earring. She has a hole in her neck. Not true. You vile thing. Yeah, it's very subtle. I swear to god, didn't we play a mystery where it turned out the key clue was like something stupidly subtle like that? Might have been Myth Disillusion or something. Yeah, I didn't miss Goose's old, but that's pretty hard to miss. You vile thing, I'm not lying. I haven't published a book in years. I was forced to sell my imp. You didn't have your imp. You have several rented imps. As you all know, Vance made our dinner tonight, using one of the cooking imps. That makes a flame hot enough to char a person alive. One that is, I might add, more than big enough to hold a human body, and soundproof enough to smother a tea kettle's screech, let alone the last cries of poor Belle. Rise if he has no eyes, since getting an imp seems to be required losing part of herself. Yeah, she might have traded her eyes for her business. And she's had no control over them both in the past as well, because she said Belle would rent these imps from the same people often. She used the cooking imp to kill Belle in her office, then assuming the imp couldn't move with poor Belle inside, Vance put Belle's body into the same cart she used to serve dinner, the one with the ivy cloth. She carted Belle's body to the basement, dumped her into the furnace, threw incriminating cloth in after her, and then screamed, alerting the rest of us. You did it! Admit it! I'm stunned that a man like you was competent enough to put this all together. But solving this only means you've doomed everyone here. So fine. What does it matter? I wrote the first Constance Little Bear mystery. It feels so good to say it. I published it under a pseudonym, knowing the public would never accept it from me. Me, a respectable writer of beloved fairy tales, writing tales of blood? It would sully my reputation. The story did modestly. Many readers enjoyed it, including Bernadette Belle. The little upstart. She was a little nothing writer who loved my story and confided her esteem, not knowing that I was the writer. I told her my secret, and she was so excited. She asked to assist me in continuing the series. I even allowed her a small percentage of the earnings. But as we published more and more, sometimes trading off submissions, it became apparent that the public preferred her stories. So I let her write more and more. But she had the gall to suggest that she deserved more of the profits. She even confided in her nosy little friend, Gareth Canterbury. Boy, if she knew how many Disney Warner Bros. Anime comic characters... Yeah. Canterbury said it was wrong for Belle to write so much and for me to get all of the profits. As though the series wouldn't exist without me. I, the creator of the series, was falling deeper into obscurity. A certain standard of living is expected of an authoress of my esteem. I had to sell my imp, my creative drive, to keep up appearances. I haven't been motivated to write a single page since. She thumbed at the hole in her neck. It was smaller than Goose's, and thus easy to mistake for an earring. At least she's aware. Like, even she's like, yeah, I know. I'd all but given up on ever seeing my creativity or my glory days ever again. But wouldn't you know? Unwittingly, Belle bought my imp! And now, there was going to be a stage adaptation of the first story. My story. But the director and Belle insisted on having Belle rewrite it. That was really the final straw. So I dealt with Canterbury, as she knew our secret, and then I dealt with Belle. And now, I don't need a single thing in this house to survive. And the fire really has done me quite a few favors lately. Why not one more? Uh-oh. The nymph stood in the doorway. Flame and iron bearing the only exit. This rental imp just became unstable. It lost control and burned the whole mansion down. And tragically, none of you made it out. A shame we didn't catch that it was unstable when it killed Canterbury. But a shame too that I will have to rewrite that script myself. Now that Belle's gone. But it will tie the whole narrative up neatly. An unhinged imp, an unfortunate fire, but no one to blame. And the public loves a neat and tidy story. Oh. Guess we're at a loss of words. Lupine whistled in admiration. Lady, that is a wild story, sure. But you're forgetting one thing. We're not just going to stand around and let you kill us. Goosey, get her. Goose drew a gun from their side and held it level advance. You seem to be forgetting about the second imp, which is just as dangerous. That knife! The razor-thin knife imp sliced deeply through Goose's hand, and they recoiled, dropping the gun and clutching the wound. Vance laughed and held her own imp aloft. First, I shall reclaim my creative drive, and then I will claim your lives, and then I will reclaim my career. Yeah, behold the most powerful imp of all, a gun. Harold felt his stomach lurch. It wasn't the mealy, self-obsessed fear of social discomfort this time, but a sudden terror for the safety of every person he locked inside the house. Wait, when we entered the house, Belle mentioned she hadn't been feeling well. And when Goose stole the imp, Belle was full of energy, while Goose was suddenly stricken ill. That imp is dangerously full of spite and envy. That must have been what made Belle and Goose sick. If you return it to yourself right now, you might not be able to withstand... Vance laughed. Don't be absurd. I have it back where it belongs, and not you nor anyone else will be able to take it from me. Once I have my creative drive back, I will be returned to the height of my writing ability. How could I, the greatest author of the modern era, be envious of anyone else? With that, Vance lined up the thin spike up against the hole under her ear and drove it straight into her neck. Ooh. Now it looks like an earring. When I reunited with her, she seemed to lose her balance and crumble to her knees. I forgot how this used to feel. I tried to warn you. Imps are complicated. And yours is filled with so much envy, it could poison anyone. But this should be all I needed. To have the same creative drive Belle had. It's Moan trying to focus enough to direct the rental imps in her defense. She probably had no idea that thing was even yours. The cabinet was most likely just fake junk. And she probably would have gotten rid of it if she knew it was what was making her so sick lately. Dea, help me tie her up. What? You just assume I have ropes on me? I mean, I do. But that's a rude thing to just assume. Like, well, she works with boats. What do you want? An hour later, as the sun began to rise over Belle's mansion, yeah, it's like, ooh. Lupin and Goose were the first to make a swift exit out of one of the windows, without so much as a farewell. The other guests left more conventionally, if you can call heading home after harassment for hours by belligerent police conventional. The police cuffed Vance and agreed to bring her in, pending a more thorough check of all the facts. As she was led past Harold and Faraday, she chuckled. You think this was a loss for me, but even if they take me in for a while, I'll still come out on top. Without Belle's notes, who do you think they'll be turning to write that script? Who are they going to consult about the direction of the series? Who will write the next story? Soon everyone will know that I wrote the first story. Full creative control. It's my series now. The pair watched her go, her gleeful laugh fading away as she was taken out the door. And Stippy's rebooting without. Yeah. Like, oh geez. Yeah, probably for the best, all things considered. Nobody knows. That's about right for the level of justice in the city. Disgusting. If the chain does publish the next story, I'm sure as hell not going to read it. While Harold gathered up his things, Faraday slumped over on the couch. Hey, next time you're going to a party, remind me that I hate them. How about I remind you of this? Nobody invited you in the first place. Faraday rolled over. Do you at least still have a solicitor? Some kind of lawyer? There's gotta be something else we can do, so that Vance doesn't get her way. Oh, sure. I'll just hire a lawyer to help Belle's memory with all the money she didn't pay with for this evening. Faraday pressed his face into the cushions. We could pull a Lupin and help ourselves to the payment. Harold sighed. We could probably get away with it, but it just wouldn't feel right even. Ooh. Harold dropped his bat and clutched at his arm, hanging off his sleeve.
It's the imp! Bernadette Belle's imp!
You little rascal! When I'm finished finding that script, I'm gonna seal you away. Wait, what? I'll open up his bag and dangled the little thing above it.
Yeah, it's a cute little thing.
Nothing, it's simply Belle's imp again. It got me with one of those accursed jabs. No, before that, you said Belle's script? Yes, it was trying to get me to... I'll stop, and the imp hopped off onto his arm. He gave a questioning look. Oh, I think I understand. Belle's imp was made from her desire to continue working. Belle was obsessed with finishing her script when she died. Without Belle around, it seems the need to compel someone else to complete the job. He had popped a little, seeming to reach for his hand. Harold lifted a finger without a second thought. He pressed his fingertip down against one of the sharp spines. Yeah, the director needs the script or the play can't go on. Harold was halfway out the door before Faraday could hop off his feet and follow. Like, oh, they're gonna definitely get back advanced for this. The imp led them upstairs to Belle's office. Moving a sore hand along the side of the desk, Harry felt around and found a secret compartment. It slid open with little resistance. They pulled out a large document, all handwritten in blue ink. Faraday gripped Harold's shoulder. She must have suspected something. Does it look like it's usable? Faraday flipped through carefully. He was quiet for a time, taking it in. Holly? This rewrite fixes all of Vance's mistakes in the first story. I'm sure people are going to like it. Vance is going to scream her head off when she finds out. Hell yeah, let's get revenge. Yeah, girl writes one good book and suddenly thinks she's God. Serves her right. I can't believe something good finally happened tonight. We can give this to Myers or the director and everything will... Shush. I'm reading. 3 months later. Harold's stray imp-infested home. Harold and Faraday were dressed in their best yet again. Faraday looked out the 2 tickets in his hand. All that stress and hard work, and she didn't even bother to send us free tickets. At least we managed to get enough money together for them. Think you could handle this? It's the premiere. Gonna be a lot of notable people there. For one night, I'm gonna ignore them all. Faraday wasn't sure that Harold could keep to that promise. We're almost at the end, throat. Bear with me. But he appreciated the effort. You know, I heard an imp lost control in theater last month. We just our luck to run into that on our one night out. It's like, unfortunately, I just ran out of water. I'll try and get some drops. Okay, got a couple drops. I'm going back to bed. Harold turned around and plodded away. Like hell you are! Get back here! I'm letting my legs go limp. I'll drag you if I have to, you lousy bastard! I earned this damn date! He's calling it a date. Aww. It's like, you sure have. True end. Yay! That was good. I liked it. I'm impressed. Take back your preemptive criticism of the characterization. Been so used to certain tropes. Yeah, no, it was really good. It was a good mystery. I really liked it. It's like, funny enough, my own murder mystery is framed in a similar way, and I'm like, ah, shit. Shouldn't have played this before doing that. Now people are gonna think I ripped off this game. Fuck, what have I done? Oh well, this was still really good. It's like... It means it's good. It's like this person did make another game. I might have to look into their other game, because I really like this. But yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much for coming. My throat's fucking dying. This person has an art book on Steam. You can download this game for free, and if you want to support the artist, it's like $5. Let me go find somebody to raid. Yeah, it's like you could always watch the VOD of this later on YouTube. Thanks for coming. Good night, everyone. Rest well. Eat your vegetables. And, don't make deals with the demons. Good night.